Oh, chat. What's up, YouTube? How's it going? How the fuck is everybody? Yo. Here. Go. Boom. Hi. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Malice Experience. I am, of course, Mr. Motherfucking Malice. And to whatever fucking side of me he actually is sitting, because he's 1,000 some odd fucking miles away, is Mystic Salon. How's it going, Mystic?
Salon. It's going wondermous.
I mean, if by looking at your hair, I might get confused and think that you are a salon, because, my God, man.
Ugh.
You rock the grays like a champ.
I am blessed in the hair department.
Fuck you.
Tease it.
If any of you are wondering why I like using hats and beanies most of the time, is because my hair is not as good as his.
It's just her. It looks funny from this side, though.
It's so luscious.
That's...
I want to run your fingers through it and go, ooh, sexy.
I like that. All right. Well, this has been great. I'm going to bye, y'all.
All right. So, as always, we are going to start with the tarot deck of the week and the tarot read of the week. By the way, chat, quick question. I'm going to ask you guys really quick while I got you here. How is the bass on my voice? Am I overly bassy for you guys over there in YouTube land? Fucking Jay. Best part of the stream done. We peaked.
Hey, something just broke in our house.
Something just broke?
Mm-hmm. I just heard glass shattering. So I know it's
did
real.
Brad sit down too fast?
Ooh, I'm telling you, he said that.
All right.
Probably one of my oil lamps, I'm sure.
You want to go check it out real quick before we get started on this?
Yeah, let me go check it real quick. Just
go check it. Go ahead. So, guess what? I'm going to entertain you a little bit further. Don't ask me. Well, I just fucking did. All right, no, I'm just kidding. I'm actually excited to kind of talk about what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm excited to kind of get the ball rolling on this. Yes, we are going to be pushing the subject of occult unification, which is what I'm officially calling it. Occult unification. The Occult Unification Project.
You are listening, but we're starting.
Don't worry about the tattoos. Was that a bad joke? Was it too soon? Too soon? Maybe. So
no one's dead.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, so I'm going to repeat something I just said. Let me know if I went too far with it. So the official thing that we're calling this whole unification thing that I'm talking about, I'm calling it the Occult Unification Project, or Occult Unification, and I added project for a joke, and then it clicked in my head. Well, yes, the Occult Unification Project. Don't worry about the tattoos. So I don't know if that was a little off kilter.
Only off kilter because he said something about off kilter.
Okay. All got tattoos. Okay, no, okay. That went over. Apparently that went over everybody's head then. Do you get what I meant? Like the reference I was trying to make?
I do. We're not trying, yes, because you can guess how it sounds to somebody, yeah.
I don't want to be
it wouldn't have been the phrase it would have, yeah. It wouldn't have been the phrase I would have chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds very dystopian at the same time, and
yeah,
we don't have microchips implanted yet.
Yet.
No microchips.
Fucking only sailors and hookers have tattoos. Goddamn.
I mean,
Oh,
unification is the best way to put it. It's not, but it's really not unification. It's kind of like,
well, I said it that way. I said what I said because unification rhymes with another word that starts with a P. I'm trying not to put it.
I, I know what you're saying, but the first thing that popped into my head was freaking. I'm giving the 5 minutes. Um, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Californication. It's all that I can think of at the moment.
that doesn't start with a P.
No, it doesn't. I said I know what you're saying, but that's what's stuck in my head now.
So it was a bad tasting joke. That's all. Let's forget about it. Let's move on, shall we? So I was trying to be a jackass as always, and yeah, now I'm overly explaining it. And it's not funny anymore. So Mystic,
Yes.
save me from myself, and let's talk about tarot.
Let's talk about tarot. So tonight, I wanted to talk about the Emily Autumn Tarot. That's not what it's called. Called
Asylum,
the Asylum by Emily Autumn.
which I wanted, and he bought before me, and I didn't buy it out of spite because he got it before me.
And I still have it and enjoy it, so we're all winners here.
I'm the only one pissed off.
You don't have it
because I didn't get it first.
But so let me tell you a little bit about it. When you I actually have an autographed card too, which is I think is pretty cool. Because and I didn't know this.
Is it actually autographed or?
Yep, hand inked,
Oh,
hand
really?
signed. Yep.
Oh, nice. You didn't know that when you
So
first got it?
no, I didn't, and it actually came with a CD too, which I never listened to because I'm like, oh god, this is going to be some flower power shit, and I'm not listening to it.
No.
Oh, I know. I went and have been listening to it all day on Spotify. No, she is not any flower power shit. So, and that's kind of what I wanted to start with, which is how it came about. So, this Oracle deck, the Asylum Oracle by Emily Autumn, is out of a book that she has written, an autobiographical book that has some fictional pieces to it as far as how it's laid out. I ordered the book. I'm actually going to read it. Um, in the list of 5,000 books I have at the moment. But this deck is developed out of the items that were in the book, and the book is developed off of her life story. Um, so really, this is like her diary. So this book that she's written is based off of her real life diary. And a little bit of a trigger warning for anybody who's watching. I would say, I mean, it shouldn't be, but it could be. So yeah. Story begins with her suicide attempt and prompt imprisonment inside of an LA psychiatric hospital. She goes into some of the really deep things that happened and occurred during this whole entire situation that she went through, and she tells of all the details. She talks about narratives in her bipolar episode, self-mutilation, all that kind of stuff, and it's really cool. You can find some actual information online. There's an edition, there's plays based off of some of the things in the book, and she actually does live reads, and they're very put on, you know, probably because she's also an artist, a musician with some really interesting music. I don't even know that I could classify it, to be honest, because it's weird, but it is really good. It's not something you probably heard. Some of it you'll sound like, oh yeah, this is metal, and you listen to others like, oh, this is emo. Like, oh wait, nope, this is dance. So it's just really neat. It's very very specific to her, I think. So it's really interesting when she actually does in the book, apparently, which again I haven't read yet. But the story is basically a parallel dimension where she is sharing her experience through her eyes as compared to another person during the Victorian era, going through being in a mental insane asylum, and comparing how similar they actually are and how much has not changed when it comes to mental health and treatment. So Anyway, that's kind of the backstory. A musician wrote a book, and then this came out of the book, and it's based off of items in the book that she wrote. Now, on top of that, the actual book for the deck is pretty cool too. I like it because she's very specific about, hey, cards mean what the hell you want them to mean when you pull what you think, blah blah blah. Very on board with the process, and she bases them out. There's 50 cards, 10 cards each element: air, fire, water, earth, spirit. I don't know which ones are which because I haven't read the book, the guidebook. So that being said, these are gilded cards, so there's a gold gild on the edge. They're humongous. Like I can't even shuffle them. I don't have big hands, but I don't have tiny hands either. I big cards.
Holy
Makes it a little
shit,
bit
those are
difficult.
big.
They're huge. Like I can't. Like it's. I can get my hands around them sideways, but to shuffle them, there's no way. Unless I bend them
Huge.
really bad. Yes.
Those are big. Those
Those
remind
things are
me of
about
the,
me are huge. My
there you
feet,
go.
my nose,
Other than that.
my belly.
So those remind me of like the first tarot deck I ever got, which was like the Rider Waite and Jumbo.
Yeah,
Rider
I mean
Waite.
they're humongous. It is probably the best cardstock I've ever had on cards. Like it's cardboard.
Well, they're not cheap though either. They're what are they, like $60?
Yeah, they're like $60. Very well put together. They're very basic. That's one of the other things I like about it. There's not a lot going on in some of the pictures, so um, they're very limited. But it is a nice deck. I have used it actually a couple of times. So we will go ahead and get started. Ooh, what's the Dark Cabaret? I would love to find that one. Ooh, gotta buy it.
No, I think he's talking about the music for Emily Autumn. That it's
Oh,
called Dark Cabaret.
I was
But
listening to like a
that
whole
does
bunch of
sound
music
like a
on
good
shuffle.
name for a tarot deck.
Sure does.
Okay, so here, while you're shuffling, I got a question. So I was thinking about something.
Oh dear.
So, would you stop? Stop it, man. So as everybody knows, or I would hope that everybody knows by now, I'm writing a book called the Book of Baphomet: Conversations with the Horned One. Right, that is the name of the book. Okay, so because they are based specifically with the conversations and communications that I've had with Baphomet through the 10+ years that I have been worshiping Baphomet as like a patron primary deity. My dedications primarily go to Baphomet. What I was thinking about including with the book is a dark tarot or a dark oracle. What do y'all think? Should I design some cards to go with the book?
I think
Or should we just
tarot
do the
would be
book?
terrible.
Okay, oracle.
Terrible. But Oracle, I think, would be a really cool idea.
I actually
Only
misspoke.
because
It's gonna be
people
tarot.
tend to try to limit you with tarot, you know?
And tarot's a pain in the ass.
But make it a large deck. I like large decks.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do at least do 50 cards.
Yeah.
At least. So, well, there you go. So you bake your noodles on that one, and I might add it into the Patreon shit. So as included. So for example, the different tiers, but we're not gonna get into that right now. We got
No worries.
a read that needs to be on.
So we are going to go ahead and do a read. I'm going to do it a little bit differently this week. This is a tarot spread that I have actually used before. It is a 5-card spread. Oh, I feel like I'm whistling a lot in the mic. I don't know. That's weird.
Hearing whistling.
It's like we're doing a tarot spread. So anyway, so it's called I guess there's a lot of different things you can call it, whatever. I call it the Maslow because it's based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs kind of deal. So it talks about when we do a weekly reading, the kind I generally do personally are just what energies are going on, what's the week look like, where are things at the moment. This is completely different. This is what are the 5 things that we need to look at on each level of Maslow's as as a group or as whoever's listening can work on to improve your current situation. So we're going to pull 5 cards, and I'll show them after I pull them because these are huge and I don't have that much desk space. My God, though. We have the cyanide as the first card, and I'll pull them up. We have the key, and I'll explain the thing too. The coin, the corset, and the spoon. Now, again, there are meanings for all these cards in the book, which I have never read. So I don't know what her specific thing is for them. But when we talk about the tarot spread that we're using, we're looking at things in order. So we're starting with physiological things. So if we're looking at over the next week, how are we going to do the best we can do? We have to look at each level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If any psych buffs are in here, you'll understand that it's basically you can't go to the next level in order until all of your previous needs are met. So, for example, I can't worry about self-actualization if I don't have food and water. I can't build my self-esteem unless I feel safe and secure. So, and there's a whole thing to that. But anyway, so our physiological, this is all things body, is the cyanide. Um, so if you think about kind of what would come out of cyanide, it's going to go to me. And I actually did this in a different read today too, but I'm stuck on it for some reason. Maybe universe is trying to tell me something. But it's self. I don't want to say that because that's another trigger point. It's self demoralizing. Is that a thing? Like self infliction of not
Oh,
accepting yourself. There's a word for it and I can't think of it. But anyway, I don't want to say self harm because this is not what I'm talking about.
self-demoralization.
Yeah. So when you spend time saying, "Oh, I'm stupid. Oh, that was dumb. Why the hell did you do that?"
Self-deprecation.
Deprecation. Yeah, I mean that fits. And so um, we need to stop doing that, obviously. So it does matter, and this is very unicorn vomity, but it does matter how you talk to yourself. So when you talk to yourself, when you say things in the morning, you have to pick out the things that are going to build you up. The rest of them you can work on. Our body is a temple. Mine's falling apart. It's crumbling on the corners, but so take some time and stop telling yourself what you're missing or what you're bad at, and stop apologizing for things that you have no control over, and stop being sorry for things that you don't need to be sorry for. But more than anything, when you step out of the shower and look in the mirror, stop criticizing yourself. Allow yourself to be. Cyanide is obviously a poison, but it is also a very naturally occurring item. It's found in nature. It's found everywhere. You have to use what's around you to continue to build yourself back up from that perspective. The second spot is safety, and in the safety section is the key. So safety is referring to, when I go home at night and I go to sleep, am I in a place where I'm comfortable and safe and secure? Do I know that food and water will be available to me? Am I worried about somebody breaking in all the time? Am I in a high crime area? Can't think of any other great examples for safety at the moment. But the key is telling us you cannot move further until you have unlocked those things that keep you safe. So spend some time going out and making sure that you have things in place. The light is way too bright in my eyes for your safety. Sorry, our food's here. When you are looking around and you feel like things are in the right place, think about, do you really feel that? When you go to bed, anxiety level up, you thinking about, oh, did I do this? Did I do that? Or what's a good example? I hate leaving the stove on because people say that all the time, but did I lock the door? What are the things that you're doing that are really embracing your safety and making sure that you are keeping things together? And the key is saying you have to look at those things before you can go on. Now, you may already be at this spot. You may have physiological under control and you may have safety under control. That's the way this reading works, is you have to figure out which level of the pyramid you're on. First 2 levels, cyanide and the key, are the first level. You can't go to the next card until you've gotten those under control. So when you're listening to this reading, if you're doing well, not self-deprecating, and you're doing well in safety, you're not having trouble with the doors being locked, you're not having trouble with feeling safe, like you have the things you need, you may already be on the second level, which includes cards 3 and 4. These are the coin and the corset. The coin is love and belonging, the corset is self-esteem. So we're going to start with the coin. This is your third card. So again, if you're at this space so far, you're like, oh no, this doesn't make any sense. The coin is looking really financially. So if you are somebody who is starting a relationship, or you are ongoing in something that is developing, coin represents what? It represents the ability to own something, the ability to do things, because things often cost money. So if we're looking at our love and belonging on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we need that. Human beings need this to function. So the coin is telling you to make sure that you have the funds that you need, and this is financial, to support the things you want to do. Not saying that you need money to do things to be in love. It's not saying that you need the love costs money. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is, and I don't know who he is all of a sudden, is, yeah, I'm splitting into two. Is really focusing on your personal level of how much are you paying and how much do you have to do and maintain your love and belonging. If you don't have the money to do something, don't do it. Don't act like you have it to impress somebody. Don't take. When you're looking at love and belonging as a need for the human being, it doesn't have to be a relationship. It can also be, and my dog's about to go off. It can also be your relationships with your friends, your family. What investment are you putting into those, and is that investment consistent or safe, secure, I guess is the better word. Sorry, I keep getting interrupted. Ugh. The corset is our fourth card. So the corset is in the esteem section. So again, we're going to just do a little repetition. Everything is beeping.
What the fuck, man?
Dude, I'm telling you, Brad's breaking stuff. The food just got delivered. My phone keeps buzzing. My dog is eating my foot. Anyway, esteem.
My dog is eating my foot.
She is. It's really creepy. But anyway, this is what you do tarot in a closed, locked room with the lights out. Just kidding. So the corset, we're in esteem,
among
right?
other things.
For those of you that are psych, I hope we have somebody in here that kind of has the idea of psych, because Maslow's hierarchy of need is a weird thing. We're on the second level. You can't go any higher. So let's say your physiological needs are met. You don't have anything going on there. So we're in esteem, right? And esteem is represented in this particular spread today as the corset. The corset is about tightening up. It's about holding it together. The original use for a corset. What's funny about that?
My brain went someplace else.
I bet it did. It's a very pretty picture too. The corset is not about sex necessarily, but it's also a good item, to have for that purpose. But the corset is something that everybody knows is something, you're tied very tight. Is that constricting you? Are you wrapped so tightly that you are constricted and can't believe and feel the things that you are trying to do for yourself? Or are you okay with letting the strings loose a little bit? Or even being ready to take the strings off?
Take it off. Take it off.
So our top level of hierarchy is self-actualization. So this is when you've reached your full potential. So if everything else is great and you're just loving life, we're looking at self-actualization. And in this particular instance, we've got the spoon. And what the spoon is saying to me, the first thing that comes to mind
is no spoon.
There is no spoon. Not only is it that there is no spoon, because that's what it's coming from. I'm telling you. We often don't realize when we are expecting things to be given or provided to us. It's general. We get used to something. We know things are going to be provided. But when you get to a level of self-actualization, the idea with the spoon, it's not going to be handed to you. It can't be, because when things are handed to you at the level of self-actualization, it becomes an expectation. So in this potential case, we're talking about not having expectations. The only expectation I have, or you should have, in my opinion, of somebody else's whatever is to be the best somebody else that they can be, right? So they need to be exactly who they are. There cannot be expectations. When you don't have expectations of others, you don't have expectations of yourself. And this doesn't mean be lazy. I'm talking about expectations that don't make sense, or when you don't meet them that you self-deprecate, talk about yourself. So this is not what's considered a weekly read. This is really a just a I don't want to say psychological, but it's the idea of how are things or what are things that we can look at to reach that self-actualization level. Stop self-deprecating. Make sure that you have things done in order and that your baseline is safe and secure and that you don't have those issues. And if you do have those issues, you need to find a way out of them. Make sure that you're not using financial things to impress other people. Pay attention to what's around you. Sure, great. You can, if you have it, do it, great. But if you don't, don't. Corset is telling you to either tighten the stuff up, but you have to figure out for yourself: are you too tight or are you loose? Once you determine which one it is, you need to do the opposite because it's a balancing act. And then when we get to our self actualization, don't expect things to be handed to you. They never will be. When you let go of that and we start allowing people to be exactly the best person they can be, you can do it for yourself and then you'll be to the next level. So out of everybody who may be listening, that probably is going to resonate with one or two people. That's how that card works. It's designed for a group reading. That card, that spread, is designed for group readings. Um, I've done it a couple times before, and it's pretty neat. Never done it with the Oracle Tarot, which probably isn't the best. What do you call it? Um,
I don't know.
Use of that deck. Sorry.
Well, it looks like it
Doing-
resonated with a lot of people.
I don't have the
though,
chat up either.
Well, what do you mean? But you only want to make what candles?
Ooh. That's what broke, by the way. If anybody wanted to know, when I ran to check, that was a whole bunch of candles breaking.
Candles breaking?
Brad knocked a whole bunch of his candle magic candles over. Whoops.
Rook,
There goes that magic.
Rook, the fairies are telling you stop fucking with this shit.
Sabotage. That was the word I was actually looking for.
Self-sabotage?
Yeah, because that's where the arsenic comes in place, and you self-sabotage. You set yourself up for not being able to do what you want to do. Like you're like, I have a shitty day every day. Well, of course you do. You wake up and say, I look like a slob when you look in the mirror. Got to stop that.
I think I look pretty fucking good, to be completely honest.
I do too. I like my type. I am attracted to myself. Is that weird?
Fucking crazy eyebrows. Well, that was a good read. I mean, interesting. I do like that deck. I'm still not going to get it because you got it first.
Yeah. Wah. So the other thing I was just thinking too, I want to continue to do that. I want to try, because I have like maybe 5 spreads that I generally use. I'm going to try.
I just heard spread.
I have a lot of tarot decks, if nobody knew. A lot of them. However, there's a lot of them that I can't actually use on YouTube or any streaming service because of their inappropriateness. And then some of them just suck ass. Like badly, not goodly. So I want to try, I'm going to go back through some different decks and kind of connect them to a tarot spread that I may not have ever used before and see how it goes. What'd you break?
What happened to my security camera?
Uh-oh. Is it El Chupacabra?
Well, right now I'm restarting the phone to see if it's just like the application took a shit. If that works. At Bloodbath and Beyond, that's good. I like that. I get my candles at Bloodbath and Beyond.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. Somebody needs to make a store with that quickly. Yeah, exactly. It'll work out wonderfully. Where do you get your stuff, Bloodbath and Beyond?
Mm-hmm.
What's the Beyond part?
Come and find out.
Really good ones on Etsy. Luciferian apothecary.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that
I've
sounds
seen
neat.
I've seen the Luciferian apothecary.
I
Fucking fuck.
haven't been to that one yet, although it sounds great.
Jesus. um.
Oh, I have ordered from here before.
Yeah, I think you're the one that showed it to me.
Yeah, that's where I got my Poji pot.
Yeah, but I think it's a little. I think it's a little overpriced.
Depends on how much money you have.
Yeah. No shit.
There's a backflow Baphomet incense burner.
Backflow. I mean that sounds like that.
Backflows are really pretty, but they're shitty. Like they don't work well usually, and when they do work well, it's the crappy incense. The McDonald's incense, Walmart, whatever.
McDonald's incense.
That cheeseburger on fries.
ladies and gentlemen, germs and everybody else, McDonald's is officially getting into the occult game.
Those arches will never look the same.
Exactly, especially with 2 little pentagrams at the top.
Lick my arches. I actually used to say that. I worked at McDonald's for a long time. That was our comeback. Lick my arches. Instead of my arse.
Wouldn't it make more sense to say lick my arch?
Well, there's 2 arches though.
El Chupa is a dog with a
El Chupacabra.
Yeah, I think you need to look up that name because because just that word by itself means something completely different. Because you literally just said the suck. You just said the suck.
The suck.
Baphomet chicken nuggets at McDonald's. Fuck yeah.
Dude.
McVirgins are okay. McVirgins.
I give up.
Oh.
I'm telling you.
McVirgins are okay, but in an hour I'm hungry again. Oh, God, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. So,
Do you know? Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't know.
Oh,
No, go ahead. Go for it.
I was going to say, one of the other things that we're doing, this is going to be kind of a thing that Brooke and I are doing. We're going through, I have a huge collection. I have a lot of huge things, I have a huge collection of oils and herbs and different things like that, like a lot. And we're going to start going through them and, burning them, smelling them, just working with them to kind of see how they work and all that stuff. And then we'll share all that. But there's a specific one that I really, really love. And it makes me think that he is an actual demon because it is designed to rid the house of demons, and he leaves the house every time I burn it. And it's called, and I don't say it right, but it's called Asafoetida. And it's in the garlic family. It looks like garlic. It smells like really strong garlic. And every time I burn it, he runs out the house. I love it.
Runs out the house?
Rook.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's great.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes, shall we? I really want to know who started that phrase. Who?
I don't know, but I have meatloaf and potatoes for dinner. I'm going to be eating, and I apologize.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Enjoy that Coke.
I would do anything for that. Sorry, it was meatloaf. But I won't do that.
Okay. So, we're going to be getting into EA Koetting one more time. So, Rook. Fuck, god damn it. You got me thinking of Rook. Mystic and I.
Hey, Rook. Malice is thinking about you. Okay.
Mystic and I watched the video that Koetting has up on his secondary channel. So, he has a secondary channel, which is Eric Koetting. So he's got that up there. I think we also have it in the Discord. If you guys aren't in the Discord, get in the fucking Discord. Would you get there already? Go to the Discord.
Get in there. Yeah. Cram it in there.
Exactly. Get in there. Just shove yourself in. All right. Anyway, and I felt that it was kind of necessary for us to kind of talk about it a little bit. his direction, the things he was saying. There's a lot of things he was saying that I agree with. Both Mystic and I are crocodile tears for not really necessary. And my biggest problem with that video, dude looks high as fuck.
Yes, he does.
He looks swords. Yeah, he looks fucking lit. Let me tell you. Like, now I'm assuming here. I cannot tell you if he actually is, if he isn't. I don't fucking know. But dude looks fucking lit.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, why not, right? Because, he just lost, what was, I guess, is potentially his primary source of income, which is his YouTube channel with God knows how many fucking videos. He was a partner. He had, the join button, all of that shit. And I guess all of that went down the drain, right? So
I think the interesting thing is where he mentions his whole, I talked to my lawyers. My lawyer said, and don't talk about it. But, yeah, the crocodile tears, that immediately turned off at that. But then, unfortunately, I feel like later on, he started, you could tell there was emotion there. And I think those might have been real. But unfortunately, it was kind of already like, dude, no, this is not cute on you.
Yeah, oh, you know what? I forgot to ask. I wanted to see if we could get Bonnie and Curtis on this, or at least Bonnie. Because I'm curious there, because that they've got some strong opinions on Koetting. But the point is,
I didn't do a weekly read. That was a completely different style for a different reason. But I feel like if I did a weekly read, the message for next week is shit's going to get wacky and nobody's going to be able to pay attention to nothing. And all kinds of weird stuff is just going to happen because the energies are kind of swirly right now. Things are not bad. It's not going to be negative. It's just going to be like, really? I think that's how this week is going to go. Really? Really?
So, yeah. So watching that video, the crying was definitely I feel that it was staged, set up, as most other YouTubers would do, with anything that they feel like they need to apologize for. The one thing I am in agreement with is that he consistently kind of stuck up for the side saying that he that he's been that he didn't do anything wrong, which I believe that he didn't.
Agreed.
And that kind of I still have to stick by that, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that. One second, I'm talking to the people that I want to bring on, which is Bonnie and Curtis.
The people. If you break it down into different issues or whatever, however you want to say it, different pieces, the deplatforming is wrong, period. Fortunately, they have the right to do it. His content, not my style, but when you really look as far as you can into it, I don't, and I'm not going to say it doesn't exist because there's no way to see it now, but I never saw in the maybe 10 videos I might have watched, and none of them all the way through, anything, even when he talked about it or even what was posted, none of it would have led to him being responsible for that. So I just don't think, hate him, dislike, terrible and blah, blah, blah. I have my own opinion that he does have not culpability, but responsibility as somebody in the light, that he could have done things differently that might have been better, but it's still not his responsibility what somebody else actively does, in my opinion, in that case.
So yeah, so I think it's an attack on the occult community. That's just the thing that I keep thinking about. Because it just really honestly came out of left field. Things seems like it's a bit of a reach. So some of the things that were said in the Koetting video, he had mentioned that Apparently, this kid was not on his forums. That the message that they pulled up was from a different forum. It wasn't from his specific forums on the Balg website. So that's something to actually look into to see whether or not he's actually telling the truth. I mean, his moderators could have obviously very easily kind of like deleted, that particular thing, but then that would be kind of going to the source or where the people that supposedly got the source, like, asking them to kind of verify where it came from. Because he's saying that those comments that they read on that video never existed on his forums. He never had conversations within or with people in the Balg community. Apparently, YouTube had got back to him, said that they're going to reinstate his channel. When that's going to happen, I have no idea. And this concept of what I'm talking about, the occult unification, I think it's the best name that we can come up with. Is what I'm pushing for. I'm pushing for an occult unification. We need to unify under one banner. We need to have a banner that we're going to unify under, regardless of what part of the occult you're in. Whether that's Satanism, Luciferianism, the left-hand path, you're Wiccan, you're just pagan, you're Druid, you're Celtic, you're Norse pagan, it doesn't matter. We need to unify under a banner. We need to show a unified front, and we need to show that we're not going to deal with this without violence. We're not talking about violence. We're not talking about freaking out and doing stupid shit. That's the last thing we need. Okay? But I feel that we do need to unify. And I'm including Koetting in that. Like, if Koetting is willing to unify under one single banner, then, I'm willing to have Koetting in that. Willing to have anybody in that. It doesn't matter. As long as you're not hurting other people or yourself, unnecessarily, then you are more than welcome, in this unification. But we need to start defending each other. We need to kind of start putting our resources together, because from the looks of it, this shit's only going to get worse. Because you've also got the stories about that Travis Scott concert, the 8 people that died there. I want to thank Noella for first bringing that up. I had thought that I had no idea that was originally like that there were people actually throwing out there that apparently Travis Scott is a demon or possessed by a demon, and that those 8 people were sacrifices to the Kardashians because the mother of the Kardashians is also a demon.
Well,
can we sit and let that sink in for a second?
That's insane.
Like the absolute utter ridiculousness of that.
Wow.
Like, just let that sink in. Let it sink in for a second. Travis Scott is a demon. Whatever the hell her name is, the mother of the Kardashians apparently is also a demon. Because apparently that concert was on her birthday, and those 8 people were sacrifices to her. What?
We couldn't make this shit up if we tried.
Guys, I very rarely am I speechless, but this is like one of those situations where I'm just gotta go. What the fuck is wrong with you? You need fucking help.
Forgot F.
Like, it's just, like this is like almost on the same level of shit as these fucking idiots that think that fucking the 5G towers give you COVID.
Oh, thank you.
And are burning and destroying millions of dollars of infrastructure because these dipshits think that a cell tower is giving you COVID. And they literally showed pictures of like little circuit boards in there that said things that looked like COVID. And it's like really, guys? Like, really?
I'm stealing Jurian's comment. There isn't a tinfoil hat big enough. There just isn't.
It's up there. It's up there. Like I think honestly, like for as much as I think they're stupid as shit, I'm willing to accept the flat earthers. Because at least at one point in history, people actually believed that the earth was flat. So these are just fuckers that don't believe in science. They're just kind of running with whatever it was, like, 2,000 years ago plus. But where do you get that Travis Scott is a demon? And apparently Kris Jenner is a demon.
What worries me is I think that the end all be all of this is going to be that everybody that is not of a certain thing is going to be a demon. And we're going to end up with, there are going to be some crazy ass people who are going to be going out trying to demon hunt.
This is, you see, Mystic put the dots together. They put the dots together because think about it, people. Think about it. If there are people out there that are crazy enough to commit a federal crime and destroy public infrastructure, which it's a federal crime because the amount of money that a 5G tower costs is significantly over $10,000, which means that vandalism, that damage is federal.
Mm-hmm.
It goes right into a felony. So think about that. Process that for a second. There are people willing to commit a felony because they fully believe in their mind that a cell tower is giving people COVID. Then you have that same group of people, because they're all right-wingers. That's the one thing you can't miss. They're all fucking right-wingers. Oh, boy. You got that same group of people sitting there telling you that Travis Scott is a demon. And that 8 people that died in a tragic accident were planned sacrifices. One and the other, and then put them together. We are in some dangerous times to be occultists.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you guys, but I am actually nervous about this shit. Arctic, thank you for that. Look at that. So Sophie was asking about some kitties.
Yeah.
Arctic pulled through. So
nice.
Rather have them murder a cell tower that they think gives you COVID than kill their kids trying to get the devil out of it. Yeah. Sadly, shit like that still happens too. So I just think, so with everything that's going on, I'm just looking at like the bigger picture of everything. Because right now everything's pretty random, right? And it's pretty separated, right? So you've got people like John Ramirez, Dr. Bridges, somebody's beating something metal outside of my house. If you can hear that, I apologize. You've got like Dr. Bridges, you've got John Ramirez, you've got she who will not be named any longer on this channel. And trust me, it's not going to take you much of an investigation to figure out who the fuck it is I'm talking about, but I will not mention that name any further in any future lives or anything.
Like if I say Mufasa to Scar in The Lion King?
Yeah, it's kind of like that, yeah. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mufasa.
So it's, I just kind of look at each one of these individual things and I start to put them together. And it makes me nervous. Like, it doesn't necessarily scare me just yet, but it does make me nervous. Because all it's going to take is just one idiot that, you know, sees the Koetting thing, sees the Travis Scott thing, sees people like John Ramirez or these other people, okay, and then kind of puts something together in their heads, and they're going to think they're going to be doing their fucking patriotic duty, killing one of us.
And you know, the
It's not that
Winchester
far-fetched.
brothers, the Winchester brothers in a very popular TV show. If anybody doesn't know who I'm talking about, everybody has one that's a favorite. Sam and Dean Winchester are not going to be held accountable if an idiot runs out and tries to demon hunt. Problem is, we have quite a few people that fit in that category of you don't think they're going to do it, but they are. That's the problem. We have crazy people. It happens.
Yeah, it
But
does.
the
It does happen.
bigger problem is we separate ourselves. Like it is the most. I'm not embarrassing, but I can't find my words today. How much anybody who is not of the Christian path, not anything against Christians, but we're focused on the others right now, right? It's how much we fight each other. Like it is constant. I have not seen or been a part of a single pagan group that has not done something like that, like where they just start fighting with each other because they believed, oh, you make a tincture with only 140 proof, you need 200. Come on, that kind of stuff, and then they just start fighting with each other and being nasty.
Oh, and how, like, for example, most people in, like, I mean, not most, but a lot of people within the pagan community, a lot of people that are, in the occult community, and certain organizations in the occult, still to this day don't accept Satanists into the occult, philosophical or otherwise. They just don't.
And they have no clue what it even is.
Mm-hmm.
Because all they know is what somebody told them in church, and they haven't had the idea that they can actually look for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and it's sad to see that in the occult community. It's sad to see that happening in the occult community because we're supposed to be the open-minded ones. We're supposed to be the ones that are kind of like, trying to work for progression and moving forward and things of that nature. And to see people within our own communities, in our own groups, cannibalizing each other, it needs to stop. We need to stop cannibalizing each other. It's enough. Because so long as we continue to cannibalize each other, what's going to happen is people from these groups, these evangelical groups, are going to be able to trample all the fuck over us. And there's not a goddamn thing we're going to be able to do about it. Okay? We need to unify. And I know I keep saying that. Okay? Right? Satanist lives matter. I like that.
And we can unify with everybody too. Like anybody should be part of that unification. Nobody excluded, not one. Even if it's your Christian best friend, if they're good for it, unify. Because it's not about the purification.
It's not.
I had to say it at some point. Sorry.
It's just that's what popped in my head when I first said it. Like I said,
me too.
And then when I said project, because I was just joking around, like, yeah, the Occult Unification Project. I was like, wait a minute, the Occult Purification Project. I was like, wait, don't worry about the tattoos.
Terrible.
I know, it was such a bad fucking joke.
It's true. Like that's what people are going to run their mind to. It's like, and it's something about the way unification sounds. It's not because you're not truly unifying. What we're doing is allowing, everybody to share the common space. It's really a meeting, a concilium, a synod. It's a coming together more than even unification, because there's no unification. We're not going to change our beliefs, but the unification is the message.
Exactly.
And I think, myself included, everybody can do better when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like I still catch myself doing the same things I argue about sometimes, but I am proud of myself enough to say that I, at least if somebody can point it out to me once in a while, because they do, I can learn from it and I can change it.
Exactly, Jay. Everyone is welcome except she who will not be named.
I can get with that. There are some exclusionary criteria.
Exactly. So if she who will not be named shows up, throw her in a cactus.
She who shall not be named at all.
At all. Just throw her in a cactus. Hey guys, this is like Yep, there you go.
Why
Anyway.
a cactus? Well, I guess that makes sense where you live.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, but cat. It just sounds like it would hurt. It just not. I don't want to kill anybody, but pain isn't off the table.
Now, disclaimer: if somebody goes and actually throws her into a cactus, that is your action, your decision. That has nothing to do with us. Just get that out of the way right now.
That's true. Is this another flyby? Hey, dudes. Got you on the background as I try to multitask and fail. Hoping to finish up this project and get my schedule back together so I can catch all your... Well, I hope so. We've missed having you around here. Fucking unexplained possibilities. Wait. Joke, but there. Grocery store and I guess it depends on who you are. You think I think she'll show up soon. I hope not. But yeah, so that's literally kind of like where I'm sitting on this is that I'm tired of waiting for somebody else to start calling for it. We need to start getting behind each other. And I've always said it, I'm not looking to be anybody's leader. I'm just trying to do my own thing here, and I'm just trying to bring people together. But if the need arises, I'm pushing this. I'm the one that's going to push this because nobody else is. Nobody else is calling for it. Thank you.
I'm trying.
I appreciate that.
I'm trying to find this girl. Or Rook would be. But yeah.
Sophie says, I joined the Satanic Temple and I subscribe to LaVeyan Satanism. To hear Satanism not being welcome in the occult is mind-boggling. Trust me, it is for me. When when Mystic told me about the problem that his local church thingy, it was,
it was embarrassing.
It was. I was in shock. He's like, oh yeah, well they're fighting about like having Satanists in there. It's like, wait, what?
So what part of Unitarian Universalist pagans is that?
Apparently not at all. We are the people we have been waiting for. Yeah, well, pretty much. We have to get behind each other. We have to. Like I'm tired of waiting. I'm not going to wait for somebody else to come up and try to fucking do it. I'm doing it myself. We're not hundreds of thousands of people, but we can grow quickly. We can get the message out there. And we can tell people to unify. We can tell people to come together. And what does that look like? It's kind of like what Mystic was saying. We have to get together in some type of platform and actually have a conversation, a mass conversation with everybody. Now, is it going to be easy when you get hundreds of thousands of people together? No. Inevitably, people are going to argue and spit and shit and fucking fight about every little grimy fucking detail about goddamn everything. But that's not the point. We're not talking about belief, right?
Yeah, we don't want you to believe the same.
Yeah, I'm not talking about believe what the fuck I believe. Believe what you want to believe. I don't care. But if you're an occultist, if you're in the occult community, unification, coming together, defending each other, standing for each other, calling each other out is also part of that. Like when someone oversteps a line, a moral boundary in their practice, call it out. Hold them accountable for that line that they're stepping over. It's all part of it. It's all part of it. You know, if there's something I do that you don't like, that you think is morally apprehensible, fucking tell me.
Breathe.
Obviously, you know, give me. Wait, what? What'd you just say? Did you say breathe?
I did.
I am breathing. So,
Well,
you
it's
know,
morally reprehensible.
oh, breathing is morally apprehensible. Okay, I get it. So, when these things come up, when we see these things happening, we need to be able to stand on the same ideas, at least with the moral grounding that we exist. Right. So, for example, me as somebody in the left-hand path, I don't do curses. I won't curse somebody. Right. I will do things in defense of myself magically if I feel that I'm being attacked that way. But I will not go out of my way to curse someone. Me, that's personal preference. If you so choose that in your practice that cursing is acceptable and that you'll curse people, all the fucking power to you. I'm not here to tell you to do or not to do that. That's not the type of moral grounding we're talking about. Okay? But if somebody does actually come out, you know, advocating for human sacrifices or things of that nature, call them out, hold them accountable, use the power of the internet to move that shit. Okay? Hold them accountable. Right? Just need to unify. We need to come together. We don't, guys, we're going to be a fucking joke in the next 15, 20 years. Because
it's going to really be a cult again.
Everything that we've built up for our freedom to be who it is that we want to be, it's going to be gone, guys. It's just, that's it. That's it. It's, we can't allow that. We can't allow this to continue the way that it's going. We can't allow it.
And regardless of outcomes and independent of what people are doing and what's going on with EA Koetting and everything else that's happening around us, it's there's no unified message. There's too many people in too many different spaces, and that's great. You still need to have your own space, but the result of these things happening is going to be the same for everybody. You know, and that's going to be, to me, that's the ultimate problem. Like, I don't see some mass movement of people kumbayaing outside of the capitals of their cities for paganism. We don't even have a message. There's not even a message. It's so siloed, and the networks don't exist. I think that's getting better. I think those things are getting a lot better. I think one thing that I would personally ask people to stop doing is when somebody is new to the craft or the witchcraft or the path or the whatever it is that they're doing, and you're aware that they're new and they do stuff that you don't agree with, and or they don't seem to be taking it seriously, which is the current undercurrent, I think, of everybody's frustration. You can call people out on that without being a dick. You can have a conversation, you can talk about it, um, share information, um, because you don't want to immediately just turn somebody off. That's, that's ultimately searching for a path. You know, people have ego. People have their own opinions. People have their own ways of doing things. And, somebody that's been practicing for 10 minutes and they come in and perhaps they don't know it all, but they act like they do. Our response shouldn't be, shut up, you don't know what you're doing. It should be, hey, how long you been doing this? Here, let me share a couple of things that I did. Here's how I do. You can take it or not. I've just wanted to kind of share it with you and have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Blah, blah, blah. You don't have to be a dick about it. Because once you're a dick, nobody's listening to you anyway. I was the same way with the witch talk crap. I'm like, oh my God. And I did it again anyway. I called it crap. It's not crap. If that's how they're using it and that's what they want to do with it, who am I to judge it? I don't like it. I hate TikTok. It's just, I don't like it. It like auto plays videos and stuff, and I lose control because I don't have control. But the point is, I'm part of that. Oh my god, the witch talk, they're ridiculous. It's all just a game to them. It's not actually. There's some pretty good information on some of those. Still hate TikTok, but the information's not necessarily bad, and we shouldn't judge it. We should have the conversation about it. I think that's where a lot of us fail, just as human beings in general. Are you muted?
Yeah, thank you. I completely agree with that. We need to stop. We need to stop kind of like judging people on the way that they do things, regardless of how we personally feel about it. Like we're all allowed to have our own personal opinions about how somebody else does something. That's perfectly fine. There's no problem with that. But to sit there and tell okay, let's go back to the beginning of why we got into this to begin with. Each of us as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, and I don't think there's a single person in this chat that can disagree with me. The initial reason why we got into the occult was because of the openness and the ability to create our own path, to be on our own path, to feel welcomed by ourselves in something that is significantly larger than ourselves, that gave us personal power and personal control over the tragedies that have happened in our lives. The things that made us feel broken, the things that made us feel like we were in pieces, the things that made us feel like we were cast out, the things that made us feel like we were nothing. Coming into the occult, into the fold of the occult, whether you're Wiccan, whether you're Druid, you're Celt, you're Norse pagan, you're a Satanist, you're a Luciferian, you're left-hand path, whatever direction you chose to go, that path gave you power, showed you the power you had in yourself, amplified that power, and pushed you forward, which is why you're still here. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're almost done. Click open file.
What the fuck is that?
It was very loud. My computer was trying to update something.
Well, I mean, talk about like talk about ending a fucking, a rant, right? Like, because even the computer said, you're almost done. Fuck you, computer.
It was trying to download something that I was not trying to download.
So if you're going to fuck around with shit, like, hit a mute
The
button.
universe knows.
But, all right, back to the point. I don't think there's anybody in the chat that can tell me that I'm wrong on what I'm saying. That most of us, 90% of us, if not more of us, do what we do because of the power that it grows inside of us. That's why we do what we do. It's why we've always done what we do. We wanted to carve our own path in a world that tells us that you can't, that that's not the right thing to do, that you're worshiping the wrong God, you're a sinner, you're going to go to hell. That's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. So, regardless of the path that you're carving, if we can agree that we are all carving our own path because of those reasons, because we're looking for more, shouldn't we be able to unify together regardless of path under that ideology, under that idea? And be able to be together and support each other regardless of our differences?
Yes.
What do you think? Your 2 cents.
I was trying to get my computer to play the word yes, because apparently it is becoming Skynet now. Thank you, Mel. So You know, I got into Wicca back in probably 1992, 93, somewhere in there. Um, and it was specifically because um, I was unable to control the things I wanted to control at the time. And you know, spend a lot of time doing things. Life happens, blah blah blah. Things adjust, things change. Um, but in the end, it was the same result, same process, but for a different reason. And I think that you are accurate in that it's something that many of us, if not all of us, but many of us share. Um, that our purpose and reason for getting into whatever occult lineage we're into was born out of a desire to be more, do more, become something, which is something that all humans want. We just decided at some point that we were going to be in control of it instead of God or whatever else is out there that you may or may not believe in. That's not the person or the entity in control of it. We are. Um, and that's something that has significantly benefited my life. So I love that idea. And it is something that brings all of us together from whatever, again, occult area thing that we come from. And it's just important to recognize that and allow other people to be new, you know, allow other people to be experienced, allow people to be set in their ways, allow people to be open in their ways. But in all of those things, you can connect the line that we are all going to feel the result of what is currently happening in the world at the moment. Um, it's not going to matter if you are Wiccan or pagan, left hand path, Satanist. What else do I always forget in there? Angelist. I don't know. Demonolatrist. I didn't say anybody's name. But it doesn't matter. None of those things matter in the end of it because our thought process. Those people are going to be affected. Is what I meant to say. All those people are going to be affected regardless. Well, some people are going to be the speakers. Some will be the organizers. Some will be the cursors, the hexers, the bracketti and hexerai, right? Everybody will have a part in it, but we're all going to feel it regardless of what happens. So it'd be really great to get something together that really
Well, look, that's
speaks
what
to
I'm
that.
pushing for. Well, that's what I'm pushing for. Like, I don't give a shit what you believe. I mean, so if you know, a lot of the people in here are left-hand path, are Satanist, you know, what have you. All the power to you, and I am pleased and honored to have you here. Your presence is an honor to me. To be able to be connected with so many like-minded people is an absolute honor. I appreciate you just being here. But the idea here is much larger than ourselves, because again, I'm going to reiterate the point here. The deplatforming of Koetting sets a precedent that we cannot let stand. And now a lot of people are going to sit here that I'm trying to fucking clout chase, or I'm trying to ride on the shadow of Koetting. Guys, I have made it no secret that I don't even like Koetting's content. I've watched a few things here and there, wasn't really ever a fan. Not a fan of how he records, his ritual style. That's just my personal opinion. But the man should not have been deplatformed. That shouldn't have happened. That was an outrageous overreach on YouTube's behalf and other social networks, due to the fact that he was simply there was a line drawn between two dots. They were very, very far off from each other. And the media decided to say, well, this guy is going to be our target for the evening. And then YouTube and Facebook and Instagram all follow suit.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry, guys. We can't let that stand. We cannot let this precedent continue. There's so much infighting and drama within these communities, so I've always stayed in the shadows, and I'm a solitary practitioner, but I agree with everything that you guys say. Well, I appreciate that, Arctic. I mean, I appreciate that, and I do understand, like, eventually, infighting generally happens because everybody wants to be a leader. Everybody wants to be a leader of their own of their own community when they're inside of a larger community, generally speaking. Nobody wants to stay an apostle or a disciple or whatever the fuck you want to call it, a student forever. And so what eventually happens is people get too big for the shoes that they're wearing. And when that happens, you get a lot of the infighting that happens inside of a community. Now, my philosophy on that is that if you join a community, respect the hierarchy of that community that you made a decision to be a part of. And then when you feel ready to leave and branch off and create your own community, do so. Go and do that thing. Go and create your community. Go touch people's lives. But the problem is everybody thinks that they're entitled to something else. And so they begin to fight with each other. And say, well, I want this. Well, then work for it. Build it. Nothing's handed to you. There's a reason it's called the craft for a reason, right? That's the reason it's the craft. Witchcraft, right? This is something that we're continually and constantly working. Okay? I completely agree, Anima. I completely agree. And I will be reaching out to you, by the way. I just kind of briefly checked your YouTube. Very interesting content. Very, very interesting, Anima.
So
I see conversations happening.
Yeah, I think of it a little bit differently. I think, I mean, obviously, any identifiable root cause of the state that non-Christianity is in is more than one thing. I see it more of a little bit less of wanting to be a leader, and a little bit more of nobody wants to be a leader. Everybody is really hell-bent on being solitary eclectic. I 50 people self-describe as witches on that I know. I don't know any of them in a coven. Not one. Not one that wants to be. They want to do their own thing by themselves without any interaction because they don't want to deal with being told that they're doing it wrong by some other solitary eclectic practitioner. And again, I'm not from the LHP side specifically, like as far as that goes. So it could be different, but the problem I see more is that people don't have a reason to group up. And so what's one of the things that I've fought for myself pretty hard for, because I want to be in charge of the things that I do. And if anybody wants to follow along, they can, but I do not want to be a leader of any type of coven or group of people. I want to be a part of something that has different tiers to. Sorry. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I kind of feel like for me, what has worked for me is to not be part of a coven or a group, but to work with other people who are similar and to be part of it, to hear, to talk, to have discussions. I have, what the person we kind of call our mentor, I think more of a friend than a mentor even, but she feels and believes very differently than we do. Yet we get along very well because all of our stuff is adjacent. It's one of my favorite words, apparently. We all practice adjacently. We do some things together. We do some things independent and apart. And that works for us. I want to lead my life and what we're doing in a way that works for me, but I don't want to necessarily lead other people into battle. And I think a lot of people want to be on that independent dock, I think. So that's just another prong to the problem.
Well, we're
'Cause
gonna
it's
bring
gonna
in.
be 20 things.
We're gonna bring in now. We're gonna bring in Bonnie and Curtis. So I do want to give a heads up that the opinions of Bonnie and Curtis are their opinions, and we are going to respect them, regardless of agreeing or disagreeing with the things that they're going to say. We're going to respect those opinions, and we're going to discuss those opinions, and that's what this is about. Regardless of whether you agree or you disagree with the person, it is necessary to have a conversation, and that's a conversation we're about to have.
Bada bing.
I'm muted. You there? Hello? I think they're there. I think. Not 100% sure.
Hey.
There she is. Can't hear you though. Can't hear you. No sound. Nope, nothing. Nada. Give us a second here. Chat. Technical
Love her
difficulties.
hair.
It is live. I know, right? Great color.
What be using?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's so weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Not wanting to be cooperative, so we'll do it this way.
okay. All right, I'm just trying to get you guys.
Love your hair. Love your shirt.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Is that
For
Cthulhu?
the old ancient one. Yes.
All right, so here, I need to try to get you guys in on the video because nobody's in on video right now. So give me a quick second here. You two can chit chat if you'd like. Take me a second.
All we can talk about is how much you're screwing up, Malice.
You want to know something?
Picking.
Right?
I haven't made it through all the way through the monthly tarot over on Unexplained Possibilities. That's always so exciting, by the
no.
way.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's been so dramatic lately too. I started laughing.
I got to hear all about my Virgo-ness. It's not doing well right now.
Virgo has had a rough. Well, and it's so funny because it matches on point with. And one of my nephews is Virgo, and he is the Virgo-iest of Virgos, and it's
Me
just,
too.
Oh man.
It's not going well. It hasn't been going well.
Drama.
Yeah. It's like never ending.
Is Curtis going to be joining us, or?
Oh, Curtis is. He says he should stand by. He might pop in here and there, but he's like, I'm gonna. I am not biased.
No,
I mean, he is biased. I'm sorry. He is very, very, yeah. And I try to not be, but it has been hard lately because, well, especially when, they're like, oh, there's, you hear cancel culture, but yet they cancel everybody they don't like themselves. So it's only when it, I guess, works for them in their favor. So.
Right. Well, I mean, I definitely can agree with that. Like, I mean, most people are just kind of like, when it comes to cancel culture, they like to cancel people that they disagree with, and then when it comes to people that they agree with, then they don't like.
And they're like, well, no more cancel. Yeah, and that's what's weird because I mean, there are several people that have been canceled by them that were once part of them.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've definitely kind of taken. I mean, I've made my point clear. I've maintained that I'm not a fan of Koetting's content. Never have been.
Right.
But I don't agree that he should have been deplatformed because I read what you sent me. I actually read it out loud on the podcast.
Right.
I read the whole section, and
well, that's just one of them that was in. He's actually written about it even more detail and different, and even more recent. The Book of Azazel, I think it was Azazel, that he explains it again. So it's like if you keep putting the innuendos of it, you are going to get. And I've worked with mentally ill people. Maybe I can explain that more because I've had ones that are into, or I guess, interested in the occult and that have come to me And when I say mentally ill, I work with people that are not only MHMR, but are, okay, we're considered what they call it, a crime facility, or I'm hearing me. It's I'm telling Curtis, I can hear me. It always weirds me out. I don't ever go back and watch my own videos I've been in because it weirds me. I don't know why. Anyway, no, you distracted. Like the criminally insane. Let's just put it that way. And I have to be very careful when some of them talk to me. One in particular, he because of his upbringing, and he just didn't know better, was this little wannabe Nazi. And I am very clear with how I feel on that kind of stuff. And I kind of laid into him, and he looks up to me. So he was like, and he's tall, and I'm looking up and just barreling into him. But it was in a way that I didn't talk to him like he was in a hospital. I talked to him like a friend would. And so he listened to me, and he actually did get out of the facility for a while until he had a little disagreement with somebody back on the streets, and then he came back. But this kid was able to tell me how to put a bomb together, and I'm like, yeah, too much info, dude. No, I mean, like, word for word, you can tell this kid is very easily influenced. And so when you have people like that watching that kind of content, and you hear baneful magic, you get the wrong people watching. And so I guess I see it on a whole different level, because I do know that these people, they're given where I work, they're given full rights. They have more rights than I do. I've been punched hard by one of the clients, and I had to step back into myself, because at first I was like, he just hit me. And the woman, there's his trainer, they call them trainers that work with him, like, oh, yo, he just knocked the shit out of her. I mean, like, they're really, they say it like it is. Anyway, once I realized it, I'm like, oh, you wouldn't even allow your child to. And I wanted to go for him, and I realized, oh, my whole job depends on how I react at this moment. And I'm like, I looked at her, I was like, I have to leave this home right now and go. Like, but some of these people, like this kid, like when he came and hit me, I wasn't even expecting it. There was nothing in the eyes. Like, some of these people are, they need to be where they are for everybody else's sake. Let's be real. But they are given to where if you can get them off and out of the home, we try to help them to live normal lives. That is the whole focus of of the state hospital. But I have seen how these people are influenced very much by internet influencers. Very much. You get the wrong sick person, like you were saying, and here we go. We have a freaking, just this nasty whole plot for something very dark to happen. And so that's when you have to take accountability. I would have had so much more respect had EA said, hey, this is something that I did say, and this is where I've said it, put where he said it, and give him at least try to retract what he said or something, because the fake tears just was too much for me. I mean,
yeah, we all agree. We all agree with it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. This is part of my whole true crime love. When you cover your face and you're having to do this, that's a lot of it's a lot of in a lot of cases it talks about how you're not really as torn up as you're trying to present that you are. It's like trying to pull into those tears, and it just wasn't emotion. He was emotional though when he was talking about not being able to fight it through his lawyers. I saw that he was ready to he did throw the papers across the room or something, and I'm like, well, he had a little more reaction to that, and that bothered me. the way I looked at it, if I was the family and I run upon that little false tear thing, you would have set a fire under my ass that, because that's my family. You know, we're protective of our family. And if somebody, and you can tell that it was false, a non-sincere apology, don't. That's like Dahmer, you know. Well, Dahmer actually was, he even let the one lady almost beat him up in court because he, as sick as it is, you could tell there was a bit of human in him at this point. Ted Bundy, not so much. You know, I guess I've watched so many of these. I am too into true crime, honestly. That when you watch this, and I'll put it to you this way. There are things that, and I'm sure you've seen the videos or where he's going off on his ex-employees or his employees again because they come back. That if I played that and then I played some of the, you know, because you can listen to it, the Jim Jones tapes, the last day, the whole, we've been betrayed, we've been so terribly betrayed. It's just all, it shivers. The more that you crack this open, it's so deeper than just cancel culture. And let's be real, we are magicians. What is wrong with, why, like in karma, how do we know that that's not what's falling in place? Instead of just cancel culture. They want to label it cancel culture, I'm sure, because it makes it look easy. But what we don't want it to look like, we're badass magician, but maybe we actually have to suffer from our own consequences at times too.
Well, I think so. Okay, so my opinion falls like this. So the precedent has been set. Now, I've always said let's for example, guns, right? A lot of people want to make all guns illegal, right? And we know that we can't take back time. No. We can't take back time and make the gun not exist. So as a matter of fact, the gun will always exist. Therefore, if you make the gun illegal, you're only taking it away from, you know, the people that, you know, are going to follow the law and actually give up what is theirs, their property, their rights. So when we look at that, when we look at the history, we know we can't take that away. We can't take away the fact that human sacrifice is a part of our history as occultists.
Right.
Like, I mean, not all of us, obviously, but a good portion of us. If you go to the Aztecan, Mayan,
yes.
You know, especially like at least within North America, human sacrifice was a huge part of the culture.
Oh yes, trust me, the movie they did on that. It's the one horror movie that's given me nightmares. Trust me, I know.
So, and I mean, back then, to be sacrificed was an honor. Like, people were thrilled to be sacrificed.
Yep.
You know?
You can go back to the Norse even. That was, yeah.
Yeah. So, the way I look at what he was outlining, because like I said, I read what you sent me. I read it out loud on the podcast. Everybody heard it. It's up. It's public. You know, it's there. I didn't leave anything out. And anybody that knows me, when I do something, I don't edit my shit. So I don't do jump cuts and stuff like that. You get the whole thing, fuck ups and all. So that way you know exactly what you're getting. Like, so there's no trickery.
Right.
And the way that I look at it is, yeah, you are correct. Somebody could look at that and say that is an outline on how to do this, and I'm going to do it.
You just hope you hope the people that are reading are going to be the type that are smart enough to hopefully know better.
Know that I'm talking about something that we used to do, but is outdated and it doesn't exist anymore.
And sadly, nowadays you almost kind of have to put that in, like, I guess you would say, what is it? Like, they have
disclaimer.
They even have to tell you now that, you know, your coffee is going to be hot when it's served. So, you know, because it's all mess ups like this. You know, one lady, and from my understanding, she burned her legs because I was like, come on, we haven't like warn people about coffee now, but they were like, evidently it was an extreme amount of burns. Because I was like, really just, I couldn't that one was one I never did get over. And I remember a couple of years back even going, look, we're getting to the point that we're having to warn labels about everything. And the coffee thing is like, hello. But at the time, I didn't realize how terribly bad this woman was burned. But so now we do have to have warning labels on everything. Black magic books should be definitely on at this point. It's sad, but let's be real. There are going to be a lot of people that are coming to the community because either one, they are looking for kinship and friendship and just somebody else to be accepted by, right? Because maybe they're, sick and tired of regular religion. So they find these groups, and then you get people that are very, very dominant and outspoken, and we take things that they say for gold, for like, you know what I mean? We don't question it, and that's unfortunate because there we go.
I want to say something to something that Curtis said in chat, because Curtis, you might as well just get into the video, man, because you're going at it in the chat anyway.
Come on.
Let me grab a chair, man.
It's like...
And I want to say shout out to Nora that's out there. She's my girl. She kind of has understood everything at a whole different level.
I actually, so you're talking Anima, right? That's what you're talking about?
Yes. Yes.
I actually, I'm reading her comments. I want to get her in on this too.
Oh, I love it because she is very, and she's just, well, I mean, because she's from Prague, I'm probably torturing the pronunciation, but anyway, she's had her following for quite a while, and like Curtis knows a little more about her. I've met her recently and really, gotten to know her well, more, luckily, made, there's a sisterhood, and that's the great thing. But she's known over there, like, what is it? She was acting, or I don't know.
She was on Nighttime TV.
Some TV type, yeah. So she's kind of comes in from a whole different level, but she is very, very experienced in the occult as well, and she's got some amazing content out there as well. And I do know recently she did a podcast with another ex-Bog person, Orly Stewart, who was canceled because they didn't like her new boyfriend, or her new, her new, partner. What are you doing? Oh, he's smoking. Sorry, he's trying to get a makeshift ashtray. It's a Dr. Pepper bottle. That is so. He's been in Texas.
All of the ashtrays in the house belong to the spirits.
So we don't.
Curtis, by the way, I found your YouTube channel, man. Interesting shit.
Oh,
I subscribed.
Cool.
I subscribed like a couple of days ago.
Wait, man, good to have you. Hell yeah, man.
So I didn't even know you had a fucking YouTube channel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's very. See, and that's what's funny. He's really. I'm humble in a lot of ways that people don't realize. I think some people think he's not, but he is. He's very humble for the most. He's passionate as fuck. Y'all know this much, but.
Well, see, that's the issue with this whole phenomenon occurring now.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I've been bullied by these fucking people for years. My life has been threatened. Her life has been threatened.
I have, yeah.
He's a fucking bully. And when they started to fuck with her kids, excuse my language, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Time to fucking hold the phone.
Well, this is the reason I wanted you guys on here, and I wanted your perspective, because I had mentioned, without mentioning your name, things that I've heard and seen about Koetting, attacking people verbally or threatening them verbally, or otherwise, that I personally don't agree with the action, and is one of the reasons why I don't like his content. Now, that is your story to tell, not mine. So I'm not going to be throwing your names out there, right?
Thank you, because you've always—that's the thing. You always, and that's one thing I do appreciate. You've been biased, and you try to be level-headed and not make judgment. And that's well, I mean, like I said, I'm a true crime person, so like with the West Memphis Three, like we don't want those things ever happening, not in any like culture. I made friends with Jason Baldwin, and like just hearing his side of everything was it's unbelievable. I'll also apologize if we have dog here. It is husky shed season, so it's here. Sorry,
I don't see any. So
I keep looking for it, but it's probably there. No, and that's the thing. Like I there's now that's why I look everybody. If anybody is interested, Nora, you might want to throw your channel's information out there because she has made she's put together a little movie, I guess you would call it, where it is going to be exposing a lot of the threats and stuff. Some of ours being included, where he's threatening to bash Curtis's head in until he quits moving.
Right, but in this video, he's crying, saying violence is never the answer. You know, dude, I'm going to call you out on your shit. And the thing is, when I try to confront him, he runs like a bitch. He's a bitch. And I'll call him out. Anybody who's affiliated with him, look, that's your choice. But the minute you start trying to join forces with him to hurt me or my family, you're just as fucked. I don't have to know who you are.
And the thing that bothered me is when I started seeing this choose sides, and that was big, that was going on, especially when I realized it at first with Orly. Orly did so much work for them. Like, no telling the things she probably knows, and she's just held back and not said because that's the type of person she's been. And you don't put a whole bunch of your enemies to force them together because that might not be in your best interest. And sometimes when you push too many people, there's one person who says, well, maybe we need to talk to these other people that have been shunned. Maybe we're told to not talk to them for a certain reason.
One of the things I'm trying to put out there, so one of as the title of today's episode suggests, we're talking about an occult unification. So the thing is the reason I'm calling for an occult unification is because the shit that we're talking about today, if we would be open enough to work with each other, we could have stopped shit like this from happening far before it got to that point. Because if we hold each other accountable for the shit that we're doing, right? Like what you're talking about, the shit, like the first time that Koetting popped off and did something like that, if the community held him accountable, we wouldn't be at this junction right now. If we could handle our own shit.
Ate it up. That's the thing. Half the community ate into what that was presenting for them.
Well, here's another issue.
They wanted it.
One of the primary issues is most of his fan base never even read his fucking work.
That's true.
They can't afford his books. They're fans of a YouTube channel. They don't know the guy.
Well, and then you reading
nobody knows him. And you have supporters in comment sections of YouTube videos that are trying to report the dangers of this without personal bias, and they will attack. But you don't even know this fool. You've never read his books, but you're a fan.
Yeah.
Of course,
I can look at him. I can look at him.
About human sacrifice, but I have titles and page numbers.
And you've read it now. You know what I mean? So it has to be out there that hey, yes, he has.
No, and I read it for everybody to hear. Like I read verbatim.
There are so many people. If you look on some of these posts, they'll say he's never said that. Yeah, he did. I mean, whether he meant how he meant it, that's it. Besides,
giving instruction on how to cut someone's throat from right to left, and in the same motion, plunge a dagger into somebody's fucking heart within a temple is direct instructions for human sacrifice. There is no taking that out of fucking context. Don't be a dumbass. Don't insult my intelligence and say that was metaphor, because it wasn't.
Well,
no, it's not metaphor.
He talks about it privately to others. And if they want to speak up, they can. But it has been out there, and because the people that know him personally knows that he actually is, he believes in that very wholeheartedly, and it just has gotten caught up. And I feel like that is people's work to protect themselves. Even some probably baneful back at him type shit, whatever, it, and I don't really, some of it, they might want to call it cancel culture, but was it not cancel culture when we decided we're going to make people choose between Orly and EA? To me also, when you start saying that, Orly never said it. She started blocking people to protect herself. Because I understand that now because I had to do it as well. But to me, that comes off very cult-like. Because what does cults do? They separate.
And that's what they do to affiliates.
Well, that's why they went to Jonestown.
Okay, Darren Taylor. We were almost set up to hate each other. We both worked under Ball. Like, it's like they divide us all, and the moment we did something he did not agree with was the moment the divide occurred, and then they start talking crap about you and they start shunning you.
And who did I talk about by trusting you? I talked to Darren.
And they got scared and intimidated when her and I began talking.
So I talked to Darren Taylor.
Because her job was to come and get me and expose me as a black magic predator.
And that was because of Zerafina, let's be honest. And I messaged, I said, Darren, and I kind of gave him the whole rundown of what was going on. And he goes, I know that I have my own personal issues with Curtis, but he said Curtis, from what he knows, he can't sit there and lie and say that Curtis is a bad person from what he's ever seen. He just knows what he's been told. And that's the thing. There's a lot of bullshit hearsay when it comes to this. Now, that's the thing. Unfortunately, I've had to learn the hard way. I used to not be this way. And I hate that I have to now, but it is what it is. We're in a whole different era. And you keep your receipts. And I have. And that's why when you threaten to kick somebody, it was kick somebody until he stops moving. Or I hope you don't go anywhere with him because he's been death cursed 3 times. And I'm like, well,
I saw those messages.
I said, asshole, we're on a fucking plane right now. Oops, too bad. I guess I'm sorry. I'm a little bit. Listen, I see him laughing at me, but
he's trying to intimidate you into compliance.
Guess what?
Remove yourself from this fool. I'm not a fool, first of all.
I'm not the one. Don't come at me and try and intimidate me because that's what my abusive exes did, and that's what I felt like he was trying to do. And
But guys, it's not even just Bonnie. Like I had a teacher who was actually a bodhisattva who took the vows to become a bodhisattva. She was an American, but EA was doing a live stream on some concept about left-hand path bodhisattva. And she got on to the chat and called him out and said, look, also your beef with Curtis, it needs to stop. It's childish. It's foolish. Well, what followed that live chat was a series of death threats to her. Vile messages. Now you're sucking the cock of the world's biggest loser, Curtis Joseph.
I've seen that.
You're both gonna lay dead in a ditch. You might as well go cut your throat, swallow a bottle of pills. Okay, listen. I still didn't say nothing to this fool then.
He's been so
I
quiet.
still was quiet. I let it rock. They thought it was a sign of weakness. No, dude, I was being kind.
Nora the same too, though. Nora, Orly, everybody has been, and because to me,
I don't want to feel like I'm beating a 2-year-old's ass because that's what it's like.
But okay, again, I need to reiterate the point here, though. Like, so again, what I'm talking about tonight with the occult unification. If you weren't silent, we could have stopped all of this shit a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Because you're the one right in the middle of it. So
I agree. Yeah.
That's why I think when he came at me quick, I quickly was not silent. I've never been silent. And so, unfortunately, I kind of just threw him out there and on board of having to talk about all this, and maybe it was for good. I hate it took so long, but maybe that's why I got thrown in the middle of it because I honestly, the biggest thing I cried about was, and it wasn't funny, but I was like, I studied cult, and I was pretty much I wasn't what, oh my God, because I was embarrassed. I was, because I would have thought I would have seen it coming, because it did. Afterwards, it felt very, very cult-like. And I wish I had said something and spoken up as soon as I saw them dividing with Orly, because that was the first, to me, key. Something isn't right. She's been his go-to helper all this time. Something's deeper going on. It can't be just because she's found a new partner.
And I mean, look,
I should have spoken
I
up. You're
agree.
right. You're right.
I agree. There's a certain amount of accountability that we have to enforce as practitioners, and I was obligated to do it. Now, the reason I did not speak is because there's this huge taboo within social media that states that we should pretty much leave our personal drama out of the mix. We should not start drama, and I didn't want people thinking that my personal problems with E.A. Koetting, Matthew Joseph Lawrence, were in any way, shape, or form anyone else's fucking problem.
Sorry.
I don't dox anybody.
I'm playing. I'm fucking with you.
I don't know where this fool lives. How can I dox him?
Right. And that's the thing, though. They want to, like, I've noticed if they're doing it and trying to get people on the attack, it's doxing, it's cancel culture, it's all these other things. Yet when they do it, it's perfectly fine. And when I first saw it, I, being who I am, not with him at this point, I should have said something. Because Orly is somebody I always cared about. And I don't blame her for, because she had to protect herself from everybody that was associated with Bob. I see why now. Because, and I don't even understand their whole beef with Yuri, because Yuri, in my opinion, and I've even, said so now, and I'm saying it publicly, that I appreciate that they were there for her when she needed someone to kind of help her.
Pull her out of it, yeah.
Yeah. Because it was nasty. It was so nasty. And they've been there for her and protected her, and they viewed it as attack, and it was never that. When they started accusing it of attack, well, that's when it got,
we need. I think as occultists in general, regardless of the path, we need to have something in place to protect ourselves from shit like this, protect ourselves from situations like this, because if there is something organized that you guys could have go to, or anybody else involved could have gone to, prior to all the shit hitting the fan, we can take care of these situations silently and internally.
Yeah.
And avoid all of the drama.
Right.
Well, you see, here's the thing. If it was just drama, I wouldn't care, because honestly, I'm above drama. It's dangerous. At this point in time, it's dangerous. Now, I'm not going to say that E.A. Koetting is a danger, because he's not. He has no power. What I'm going to say is these ideologies which he proclaims he believes in, which he writes about, but has yet never performed them. Like, okay, what gives you the authority to perform human sacrifice, bro? So you've done this before? Unless you can say yes, well, you shouldn't write about it. And if you say yes, you belong in prison.
Well, yeah. And that's a very...
Don't write about it. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to think, man, this might be bad PR. This dude obviously has no fucking IQ. No fucking intelligence at all. So why do people worship him as a living god? Because that's the name of his fucking company?
Well, I don't think he's a danger magically, but I do personally think that as a human being he is. I mean, watching that video that he put up on Eric Koetting, that page, that ghost page he has. I mean, dude was fucking lit, man. Dude was fucking lit. Like he could barely keep his fucking eyes open.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, there's just there's a vibe that I get off of him. Like I've always said, and I maintain this nonstop, I've never liked his content before Bonnie showed me the messages, before she showed me the book. Like, I never liked his content. Like, it's just not for me. But my personal opinion is I mean, I do think that he could potentially be like, you know, a human danger to other people if, you know, put in the wrong circumstances. Now, I do stand against like the whole shutting down and shit like that. And the reason I still stand against that is I still think that us as occultists, we should be the ones holding each other responsible.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we should be the ones drawing the lines in the sand. We should be the ones that are protecting ourselves and protecting each other from idiocies of the type that we're talking about right now. We should be the ones in charge of that. We are a community at the end of the day, regardless of the path you follow, regardless of the magic you practice. We are all a community globally, all over this world. We are a global community. And some of us are solitary practitioners and don't want to get involved. That's fine. But we should be the ones holding each other accountable for the moral standings of the things that are happening inside of the community. And this situation has happened and has unfolded as it has because we have not taken the responsibility in our own hands as we should have from the
And
beginning.
I hope we learn. We learn.
And I mean, theoretically, it does. It makes so much sense. But the thing is, we have to bring up very practical issues like narcissistic abuse, because that's what this fool does. It's narcissistic abuse. He tries to intimidate people. He tries to puff his chest out, and he tries to make himself seem like a human danger. Bro, knock on my door.
Well,
He ain't no fucking danger to no man.
Because, you know, I've seen several times where he would, you know, really try to, before I was with Curtis, he would like belittle Curtis, yada, yada. But Curtis would come up and say, hey, I'll challenge you to, we can, you know,
let's fight.
We'll donate the money to
charity.
You know, like, let's have a physical, you wanting to fight,
you want to fight me, dude. Let's do this. There's people that want to see it. You created this beef. So let's fight, dude. We'll give the money to charity. It's not hard to get a hold of an athletic commission and have doctors come and make it a legal thing. We can do this legally.
Get over it.
We can do this legally.
Get all that beef out there.
And that was, you know, like, and this is the issue. He tries to, if he is intimidated by anybody, he tries to be them. Like on his last live stream, I had to jump on because he was proclaiming that he had this lifelong obsession of martial arts. Look, I remember when I first applied to his OAA back in, I don't know when it was, 2007, they said martial arts and magic have nothing to do with each other. Why did he say this? Because he wants to be like me. But here's the difference between me and him. I teach martial arts through video. I teach it one-on-one. I've taught seminars with hundreds of people. I can actually put my money where my mouth is. People see me move, they know I'm not lying. This fool, he's about as graceful as a fucking rhinoceros, drunk and fucking high on meth.
Well, the foaming at the mouth always gets me. I'm like, take the video. I would be the type for me if I was like, oh, what did you do? Like, I mean, even his girlfriend, we'll see what she's done the next morning, even though it might be a whole hell of a lot like lately it's been. Because I guess he's not online anymore to watch what she's doing. So when she goes out threatening me, like this was recently, because me and one of the ex-bald people have like realized that my and her beef with this choose sides type shit. Once we realized where the beef came from, which was E.A. Koetting's girlfriend, we talked it out and realized, oh, we probably both should have talked about this without being both so very hard-headed. And we both apologized, and we're both very, very not, you know what I mean? We're both very stubborn, and we were laughing at the same time we're trying to apologize. He was there laughing through it, watching us try and apologize to each other. Yet, I literally did 3 fire emojis on one of her TikToks, this ex-blogger. And I don't want to throw her out there because just, but anyway, she goes, oh, how cute. y'all are being friends again after, and then she said after she, the person's name, called CPS and tried to get your kids taken away. Like, it lit a fire because I realized that I knew at this point it wasn't her that did it.
Yeah.
I knew who did it. And I'm like, and I just kind of went off. Now she tries to act like, oh, but he scammed me. And I'm like, that's not the case. So I said, I sent him.
Yeah, I have to say this when you're done.
No, go ahead, but because this is where he took up. And then she deleted everything she said where she had started.
To make us look crazy. But she essentially tells people that I romance scammed her out of $10,000. Okay? I'm going to tell everybody this right now because I hold myself fucking accountable. Yeah, I received $10,000 from that woman. I didn't ask for it. She sent it to me. As a matter of fact, it's one of the reasons I ended the relationship because it was always a matter of, do you need money? Do you need money? Do you need money? And I'm like, she's literally trying to buy love. I cut it off. And on top of this, though, they are claiming and slandering me, claiming that I extorted hundreds of thousands of dollars from Become a Living God. $60,000 from another gentleman who I won't name out of respect for the gentleman because I don't know if this rumor came from his mouth.
Or just
But let me tell you something, brother. I'm a very smart individual. If I had one single $100,000, I know how to use that money so well and do. I mean, I wouldn't be here.
Well, and a lot of times
in this position,
right? And this is one thing I'll say. Who's to say that, we work with entities. You like working with Baphomet and the things we work with, the different entities work with. How are we to say that things don't line up the way they're supposed to? Because me of all people, when he's telling me what happened with their relationship, because like he said, I came at him to get information because he was a scammer or a predator is what I was told, which to me now I realize predator was insinuating a lot more than just money. But Chris, my youngest son's dad, when I got pregnant, it was very unexpected. And, because of how I was raised, it was, are you going to do the right thing? Well, I didn't really want to do the right thing because I think I really kind of saw what was going to happen, but it all happens for a reason. So even though I was still I did what my dad wanted at this point, right? But I wanted Christopher's dad to have a fair shot at being a dad and having a life of normalcy. And let's just say he had a lot of restitution to pay the government or to pay the state of Texas because of a lot of things he's done wrong, ending up to about $10,000, which is crazy because the coincidence here. And at the time I had that, so I paid to help get his dad's name cleared, which I did. Never once did I throw that in his face. Not once, because I did it out of love for my child, and at the time out of love for the person that was his father, trying to give him a clear shot. I never used it as leverage, but I do realize what people will do, and I'm like, that sounds like a scorned woman to me. So when you feed something like, oh, well, he used, okay, so if I was to go with that, hey, I gave Christopher's dad all this money, you're going to get somebody, because they care for you, riled up, especially if they already don't like that person.
Right.
So she used this and created a bigger monster. So in my opinion, that's what I told him. She is just as accountable for a lot of this.
Well, she's at the root of all the drama, and I told her that. I told her, you're destroying your soulmate.
Well, so correct me if I'm wrong. So, obviously, I've kind of joined kind of like the online YouTube occult community a little late in the game here.
Thank goodness for you.
But my understanding is that all of you, Koetting, Bonnie, you, Curtis, Behemoth X, all of you guys were a community together. You all worked together. You all kind of started your shit at this roughly about the same time. You're all kind of working together.
Around there.
But yeah.
Behemoth X, I have no issues with Yeah, he's
No,
awesome.
I actually like his content. Like Behemoth X, I think is great.
Yeah, his content's good.
It is.
He's doing things that I can support. I do not support EA, but like I told him, you are free to be friends with whoever you want. Just know that when it comes to me, I'm going to get passionate. Mainly because I know I've worked for the guy. I've been at the receiving end of the abuse.
You know, the funny thing, okay, what you were saying is how we hold each other accountable. And this boils back down to what me and this other person that, you know, made our amends recently, we're talking about the other day. Like she had said to me, I wish I'd have come to you and asked you, like I did him. Now, here's my biggest, to anybody out there listening, if something doesn't sit right, ask questions. Go to the source or the other side and try to get their side of the argument as well. Because guess what? You may find a whole different, you know what I mean? So, and then you have to be investigative, you know, be your own investigator and to decide which is best morally for you if you have to choose sides. Because had anybody, you know, because supposedly there's this video of me being abusive to my child. Well, this abuse video it's a voice recording. Number one, it is being triggered by PTSD from being abused. But my child had come at me with his fist clenched and he stands taller than me and he's in my face screaming. And I said, what is wrong with you? Yes, could I have handled it better? Of course. A lot of times as parents, we fuck up. Like it is what it is. We try our best. But I've always been there. My child knows this. But in my face, yelling, and all I'm seeing is, and it terrifies me that my child is becoming, and I see it as my fault, but all the horrible people that I've accidentally put him in around, like abusive people, because he hates these abusive people, but I'm watching his hands clenched, and he's trying to hold back, just knocking the shit out of me. Now, had she shown the video, and a lot of people have said this now that know the other side. Oh, well, that makes a lot more sense now. Had they seen that, they wouldn't have just canceled me. Because they realized there was a whole bunch more to that story. But this person that decided to share this video had her own agenda. She was actually trying to get me to be with a person that has an actual record of abuse.
She's a Become a Living God fangirl.
At best.
And it was all to push their agenda. Now, look, that's neither here nor there, though.
But what was my curiosity here, though, is what was the original breakdown? Because all of you used to be pretty tight knit. So there was something that happened that caused you to go your way, Behemoth to go his way, EA to go his way, and for EA to do what he's doing. And obviously EA fucked somebody along the line in the ass because he was the one that ended with the bigger bag.
Well, here's what happened between EA and I, where things went south, was Black Magic of Ahriman was released. Black Magic of Ahriman sold out.
Quick.
But EA gets drunk, gets high. I made a post on Facebook about diabetes, man. One of those posts that's like, if you're my friend, share to support the American Diabetes Association. This guy jumps on my post, calls me out, says, I don't have to do shit to prove that I'm your fucking friend. Don't act like a bitch, sitting there trying to fucking humiliate me. And he tries
diabetic since he was 5.
He tries to make it seem like I'm a piece of shit for making a post like this. Well, dude, I was never intimidated by EA Koetting, so I puffed my chest back out. Ego, not gonna lie. On my part, ego. But he personally messages me, says you will never fucking work in the occult again, like he's Hollywood or something, right? And that my career is over. I'll never work for Become a Living God. Well, thing is, the actual owner of Become a Living God, Timothy Donahue, messaged me the next day and says, look, you're not fired. EA's out of his mind. He's working on this 9 Demonic Kings project. 9 miniature grimoires. I know you work with Belial very closely. Do you have any notes that you can contribute? I remember I told EA I was going to give him a literary and magical ass whooping. So I said, yeah, I'll contribute. And I did. Within 2 weeks, I put together, I don't know, 10,000 words for a small contribution to their compendium. Well, EA got intimidated. He got scared. So what did they do? They bring on already published books and make it a part of their compendium, their Belial compendium. Why was this done? Well, because now there is not a direct contrast between Curtis Joseph and E.A. Koetting. Now there is Curtis Joseph, E.A. Koetting, Aseneth Mason, and Edgar Kerval. And ever since then, they started adding more and more authors to these compendiums. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can thank me for the 9 compendiums that were produced by Become a Living God. I started that shit.
But
That's where it went south with me and EA. Then he starts claiming that they wrote Black Magic of Ahriman. He claims that he threw away hundreds, if not thousands, of my books. And I'm like, bro, Timothy Donahue told me, like, my books sold out years ago.
well, that video was taken down. Right?
Yeah, well, yeah, they took that one down. Regardless, that's when it ended for me. So there's been bad blood between EA and I from the beginning. So when I break up with this woman goes to EA with this story, and now he's got a reason to hate.
Even more.
Yeah.
You know, well, and it, now the thing is, it's like, let's be real. If he had scammed, there are going to be documents. You can pull up like records on your bank account. And if she wanted to, she could have tried to push it. But guess what? When it's given as a gift, they're not going to freaking touch it. Like, okay, well, why did you give it?
Yeah, I could have stayed with her and kept taking her money.
But he didn't.
No.
And I have
I wouldn't do that.
Now, whether it's true or not, I can't say. But I do know, since I've been honest and open, kind of like you said, once we start speaking our own truths about this, our own issues or whatever. But I guess I said something that enticed somebody to send me, hey, she did the same thing to me. She's been offering me money. And I said, heck, like one person was like, they said, hell no. Another person was blackmailed by her. It's all out of fear. I guess because they didn't want to be seen for who they are. And his own, the way I see it is a lot of his, that's why I don't like it. It's like, call it cancel culture if that's what makes you sleep at night. That's fine. But it is what it is. People have been we've had to do magic to protect, not painful, but to protect ourselves. And I do a lot of mirror magic and return to sender. I'm sorry if what you were trying to do to me hits you in the ass, because all I'm doing is sending it back to you. Right. I'm not trying to be ugly, because that's not who I am.
Not who I am.
Well, I've told you, I've told you guys before, when we first started talking, when you were in that car in the middle of the woods.
In the middle of the woods and get pulled over by the cops 3 times.
Right.
Yep. And then like, I remember this was the first time I saw Curtis. I was like, there's somebody behind you. He's like, oh yeah, that's just Curtis. So, I told you guys before that my intention is to bring the community together. That has been my intention when I set this channel up, when I started making videos, when it comes to calling out people that are threatening us, to hold people accountable on any side, anywhere they're from. But unification only works if people want to be unified.
Yeah, that's true.
I love it.
Unification is only going to work if we actually work together.
Our cats.
Well, the
that
thing
was a
is,
cat.
here's the thing. I need to speak. Unification with cancer is not good. Cancer is unified with the human body.
Well, and that.
So, you know what I mean? And that's the thing. And look, this whole idea of unification, it's beautiful, and I think it's something that needs to be worked on. But here's the problem. Again, this isn't just cancel culture. This is direct psychological manipulation, narcissistic behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole cancel culture aspect that they're trying to inflate to make people feel bad for them, it's just the icing on the cake. It runs so much deeper. And when people don't want to come out with their truth because they feel like they're going to sound insane
or be bullied.
Well, that's why these conversations are important. That's why I wanted you on. Like, even when Bonnie said in
And I
Messenger,
appreciate it, 'cause,
you know,
like, how can, and it's going to be to the point of, like, you're Malice is like, how do we tell the I hate to use the word narcissist because I feel like it's overused, but there are narcissists, and we know certain werewolf wannabe killing cat people that are narcissists. That's a whole different story.
Mhm.
But yeah, evidently you can, if you kill and skin a black cat, you can become a werewolf. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't
I
do
don't
it.
think that. Yeah.
But there's narcissists. How do you know with the people like EA, like yourself? You can, that's why we really appreciate and support you, because both of you guys, because you are legit. You're real. Nora, like, I had heard all kinds of shit about Nora, but I'm like, she's honestly probably one of the most empathetic people I've ever met.
Right.
Mhm.
Honestly, I'm like, when it comes to somebody that is a true empath and feels and wants to love like, literally, she has still, up until very recently, wanted to forgive him, EA, and he has done her beyond wrong.
Yeah.
I will say beyond
And to the
wrong.
point where if she were to come out without everyone else coming out, people would call her crazy. As a matter of fact, people have tried to call her insane.
Saying
and
that
it's
she
just
was
not true.
Let me tell you, the whole thing, like, she was sending her news. He took pictures of her, and she will tell you that, because they were together.
Yeah.
That would be like me and him being in a relationship. He takes pictures, and all of a sudden, when he's mad at me, going, y'all, like, she's trying to, no, like, calling her a sexual predator because of these pictures that he had already, but using them for his own agenda. And that's the thing. She trusted him, and that's what is very ill. And that's why I feel like her story is going to be very important. She has a lot of backup from people that, in her past already, but people are from now, like, from the people that are kind of been in the middle on the sidelines trying to wait to see both sides. I think people that are more level-headed, I think once they see how deep and how ugly it really truly gets, it's going to be like it's going to be a lot.
Mhm.
And that's why I say definitely check out her stuff, because it will be coming out soon, and it's a lot.
Now, here's the thing. Freedom of speech exists. Rights not exercised are rights lost. I completely believe in freedom of speech. The thing is, when you say something, you have to always realize that because you have that freedom, you are accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where, we have to understand where do we draw the line? As people that want to see the occult community unified, like, I can give you more regarding my story. I created a social media platform called Scales of the Dragon. And this social media platform was meant to do just that. It was to bring people together from all different paths. Even Christianity, man. I welcomed everybody. The website was completely bombarded with fucking bots. The website I built before that, Ordo Dracontia, I paid somebody who I did not know at the time worked for EA Koetting, paid him $2,000, and he built a website so that it did not work. The prices for my services weren't even on there until a person tried to check out. So they didn't even know what they were paying for. Had I have known that he worked for EA Koetting, and he was writing under a different name, under EA Koetting, I would have not hired him. But see, this is the kind of manipulation which kind of goes beyond just holding someone accountable. Like, hey, man, you can't say that. It makes us all look bad. Because it's manipulation. It's behind the scenes, puppet string. I'm going to use my lapdogs to do my dirty work.
At the end
So
of the day,
you can't.
At the
You
end
can't.
of the day, though, do you think he even gives a shit about the left-hand path? Let's be real. Or
No.
would he be doing this?
No, EA doesn't. Of course not.
And that's what's scary, because a lot of us, because we truly do believe that we should protect ourselves, because we know it's like, we don't want we do not want to give the fucking Christian community, and I'm not knocking the Christian, that's my root, but we don't want to give them, but I also see a lot of this sickness in it, so we don't want to give them more ammo with things like this than we need to. So people like EA, we need to kind of, hey guys, let's really kind of put our heads together. Is this person really for us or against us? Because it seems like it's more out of ego and for his own gain, and he's just labeling it under a left-hand path and like calling it magic. When, okay, if you really want to cult, that's
right, but
fine.
see, on the other hand,
well, no, it's not.
There's an Instagram, EA Koetting Club, where everyone's calling him Master Koetting. That's not left-hand path.
That's cult, but.
And that's the jacked up thing about it all, is he's using the left-hand path as a means to get a bag. Like you said, how did he get the bigger bag? Let me tell you, he got the bigger bag because Timothy Donahue had daddy's money, and they decided to build a business together. He thought EA Koetting had potential.
And he did at one point, I'm sure.
I get it. He did.
Drugs, and this is a thing. And
every video I see with Koetting, he looks like he's fucking high. That doesn't show potential to me.
And that's you know what's funny is again, I can sit here and tell you, because Chris, my youngest son's dad, there's so many coincidences, was a meth addict as well. And I'm like, and I showed him pictures. I said, look, this is the look of what meth will do. Now, sometimes meth you can hide and a person will look pretty normal, but that's rarely the case. But my ex would get foamy and belligerent, and there was at one point he took my whole car apart, my whole truck apart, trying to fix the put a speaker in. I get in my car the next morning trying to go to work because he didn't work, and no panels on my either door, and I'm going, you know, and so this is where I realized how bad addiction can get, because this is my part, this is the sad thing, is I don't like to accuse anyone. And if anybody knows me, I will not accuse anybody of anything unless I have proof. I became almost as crazy as the addict themselves, because I'm trying to look for where his stash is so that I will be able to go, what the fuck is this? You know, because I didn't want to accuse him, and because I knew that he would, because I realized at this time I was already being abused, and I realized that being crazy would be held against me, right? And falsely accusing him. But at the same time, I wasn't. But I tried to play it smart and try to find it. I did a couple of times find it was only weed, so it was like.
Mm-hmm.
But he was smoking weed off oil, which to me was weird in the first place. Like, sorry, but it was weird to me. And I'm like, what's all this crinkled, smelly, hidden foil? But it was like it was something. But I never did find a stash. But at the end of the day, when it came to the time of the divorce, and okay, the only thing I asked for, if he wants to have visitation with a child, and I was trying to be fair, just submit to a drug test. He refused, and he still hasn't to this day, and it's been since 2008. Wow. And he will post, and now a lot of people are going, this is your own fault. Now people see, it's taken years, but he'll post, she won't let me see my child. Well, it's like, but dude, you need to get clean is what people are telling me nowadays, because they see it. But at the time, he was whining like, well, why didn't she have to take a drug test? Because I'm not the addict, asshole, but whatever.
Right.
And it's
Well-
so scary. You're right. We do need to hold accountable, but it's like, maybe it's just like, maybe we should, hey, this person is questionable. And
Well, it
have the
needs
one-
it needs to start. It needs to start small first, because we can't expect the entire community to get behind us in a click, right?
Right.
But the thing is if we can get a few of us together, of like mind, that want to see this unification happen,
Change.
and
You wanna
then
see a change.
and then across our content, unifying the content, when we come to an agreement to say, okay, this is happening with this person, should we address this? And if we concur and say that we need to address it, people can take it for whatever the fuck they want to. They can say you're full of shit, or they can say, oh, we didn't know this, right?
Right.
But when they see at least some of us in the community starting to hold other people accountable for the shit that they're doing, other people will follow suit. And I'm not talking about making leaders and making no, that's not what I'm talking about. I don't give a shit what path you are. Okay, it's
Right.
holding everybody accountable within the occult community and building that community and making it stronger, so we can visibly show, so everyone can see that we're unified, that we are one unit, that there are solo practitioners, there are people that do their own thing, but when the time comes and we need to clean shit up, we clean house.
Yeah.
We do
and
what
it
needs to get done.
And
It
everybody,
needs done because, listen, if it isn't done, there's going to continue to be situations like this that keep popping up, and more
bigger
people
one is
are
around
going to
the
get
corner.
hurt.
and I will
Mhm.
say, like,
Yep,
let
the
me
bigger ones
add,
around the corner.
if you don't feel like, okay, you always come to me or Curtis, but you too. I mean, I'm gonna sit there, Mystic. You got like the most pretty aura. You really do, and I'm sorry if you do. I like, as a person that breeds people.
Thanks.
This is you.
Not the blue lights, is it?
No, it's you.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You
Thank
do. You have like a good, like you're a good human. Like you are. I can see it. I mean, I'm wrong. I mean, like everybody has their moments, but you got a good soul. Like you too, Miss it. Go to somebody that you feel you can trust if something doesn't set right with you. Just nobody's gonna judge you, right? Like I feel like being through what we've all been through what you guys have seen, you're going to be able to try to listen and either talk them through, like, okay, no, like, not look at you like you're being paranoid, blah, or like judgment. It's not judgment. If it sits wrong with you, that's not being. See, that's the thing. That has always been a hard part for me. I'm not trying to sound like a last frontier medium or anything, but because I am a physical medium, God, I hate that. But I've
Super
always,
psychic.
but
The
no,
next thing is Elvis is your boyfriend.
well, reading people has always been extremely hard. It really has for me because I love my family, but they're Christian and they can be super judgmental, and I never have ever wanted to be judgmental. And I've ignored a lot of my intuition at times and ended up in bad situations because I've ignored my first intuition,
Mhm.
right? Even with Serafina, which is EA's girl, like, I'm like, oh, she's, and I knew it, there was something off, but I'm going, she's cute, maybe you're just being judgmental, and I should have known, because something deeper in me knew, right?
Mhm.
We have to learn to trust ourselves. If you're even looking and watching this, you probably are open, or your third eye is kind of doing the vibe, that thump, that vibration thing that you want to look into different things, because
Mhm.
something is more than just black and white, God and devil and all that bullshit in between, right?
Yeah, of course.
So bring it up to somebody else that has been there, and maybe seen more, somebody you feel you can trust, and hopefully to make sure you go to the right person. But
Well, that's the thing. You're not the police, so you can't do shit anyway.
but if you talk to somebody, maybe they can help you. And then this is how we can. Well, maybe this is how we started change, is by talking to somebody. And if you have somebody come to you, you talk to amongst yourselves, and then we kind of have like a little community.
Well, that's kind of the idea. Exactly. That's kind of the idea. So it's like
washing it. Yeah.
So I've had people in the past prior to you, Bonnie, tell me things about EA.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't like his content. I think he's a snake oil salesman, basically. But you know, I don't have enough to go on with one person. I don't have enough to go on, right? But once I started covering the content, right? Once I started covering the content with what happened, there's a lot of people kind of coming out and they were talking about, you know, well, he did this and like, well, he did say this. He's saying they were covering that one angle, that one thing about the things that he said. I was like, me personally, I don't give a fuck what somebody says in a goddamn book. Me personally, when I read a book, it's like a video game. I play Doom. I play Call of Duty, right? I shoot people all the fucking time in games, all right? It doesn't mean I'm going to go grab a gun and start shooting people on the street. I'm not going to do that. You know, so when somebody writes something stupid in a book, it's something stupid in a book, and I try to look at it objectively.
Yeah.
But when you start showing me, you know, the shit that you showed me in the messages, and the only reason in my initial coverage or my initial talkings of EA Koetting on this channel, the reason that didn't come out is anything you give to me, I take as being given in confidence, which means it's not my shit to give out. It's not my shit to talk about.
No confidence anymore, I promise you that.
So... You know, so the thing is like once like having you on here, like then you can talk about it because that's your guys' shit. But I'm not going to sit here and start dropping your names and dropping your situations for the sake of getting clicks. I'm not going to do it. I won't fucking do it. Like I'm not going to use other people's tragedies and other people's problems to try to get ahead in something. So that's why, like, all of this is coming out on my channel with you guys saying it. It didn't come out before.
See, here's the issue. Now, even those who read his books, they agree with you. It's something stupid in a book. It doesn't mean you have to get up and go cut somebody's neck from right to left and in the same movement, plunge a dagger into their heart. It doesn't mean that.
But I do know, because of where I work, that there are people that will watch that kind of content and take it completely serious.
Right.
And I'm be honest.
But as I was gonna say, I don't want to lose my train of thought. Please let me finish speaking. I really see. I already did. God damn it!
It happens to me too, man. It happens to me too.
It's a Gemini thing, man.
I'm a Gemini too.
I'm so air.
Well,
airhead.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I've run across so many people. It's like I remember because I had to go to therapy after being like the abuse, because I was one of those people, oh, it would never be me, I will never be abused. And after that, I'm like, I was shocked. My poor therapist was like, I didn't even know what Xanax was, but I was prescribed a lot of it. And I can't believe now, I look back, if I take even a tiny bit of a Xanax now, which he does prescribe because of PTSD, if I need it, it's there. But if I even take a tiny bit of one, I'm like, ugh. But at the time I was surviving off of it. But it's funny because when he first was going through my story, it was weird because for the first time I was heard and listened to, and I was shocked that somebody didn't think I was absolutely just crazy making it up. But because when you go through things like that, I think because with abuse, a lot of times you're told that you're the crazy one. It's all in your head. A lot of these people will come from some sort of an abuse, some sort of either a fucked up home or really controlled upbringing, which is a form of abuse. And you're confused. I remember, and now I'm like, I've told Mr. Here's how you make a bomb to look at Become a Living God, and I'm going, you know what I mean? And I'm not playing because I'm going, oh God, we might have you know what I mean? You have to be very careful with these things.
No, I
Because
agree. I do agree, and I
if
think
this particular person was to ever do anything, I would blame myself because I directed it to the
so
child.
here's the thing. So
You're
with
gonna
with
hit
the
me
with the
up?
things that he said, with the things that he wrote in his book, what I would call him out on, what I would hold him accountable on, is not writing out basically a detailed, like, step-by-step guide on how to sacrifice a human being. I wouldn't call that part of it out, but the part that I would call out, as I say, you need to put a disclaimer on it. You wrote something and you said something and you completely neglected to put a disclaimer on this material. You put it out there, and regardless of how you think you're presenting it as something that is outdated, you didn't say that. You didn't say that this is an outdated practice that we no longer do, but this is for historical purposes is the reason I'm putting it in this book.
And when this came out, he knew it came out. Why not at this point even do what you said? Because, somebody fucking took this way wrong. I don't understand, why does it have to be after I lose my, my
Jay,
social media?
One sec. Let me address something in chat real quick. Jay, you're right. A disclaimer probably wouldn't have helped. But the thing is what a disclaimer does, a disclaimer allows us as people that are writing shit like that to cover our own asses. To say, at least I said you probably shouldn't do this. Legally. But the fact that it wasn't put in there is he didn't cover his own ass in writing and making that content. You're right. A disclaimer wouldn't help. It wouldn't.
Right. For people, okay, like my mentor, when I started doing actual readings and stuff, when I was more comfortable, he's like told, and I had it done before, but I am a reverend, guys. But the reason being, it's like with the Universal Life Church, I know a lot of people are, but like to get yourself associated where you can legally, because a lot of times, okay, Mystic, you would know when you do tarot and things like this, you're kind of a counselor in a way. You kind of take on that role, whether you realize you're like, oh God, I just realized I'm an unglorified counselor.
Yeah, and I have to be careful because I'm a licensed healthcare person as well. So it's definitely a part of it.
Because it's a lot. And people that come to you for tarot, wow, sometimes it's overwhelming and it's hard because there's a lot you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And I get it. Sometimes you trust a tarot reader more than you would probably a healthcare person. And I've told people you need to talk. We've recently told them because it's gotten to the point of what they're dealing with. There is.
In other words, when I can tell that a client is psychologically damaged, I tell them because I'm a responsible person.
Right.
I have to tell them you have to go to a psychologist.
And there is something else, like when I noticed it recently, it's like there's something else going on, abso-fucking-lutely, but he does need to talk to somebody because, number one, if they talk to a psychologist, it's going to get their fear down, right? And it's also going to get their anger managed to where if we have something like a poltergeist, which, is going like through a client anyway that we're dealing with, but it can help that person because you quit feeding this energy, it won't grow, it won't be able to feed anymore. So it kind of, with me, from what my experiences, poltergeist, I have my own, they do not die. That you can stop feeding them though. I have my very own. My trauma, my own trauma is kind of where it came from, and and it looks like a very big shadow person most of the time. Some people's it looks very differently. It looks a lot of time. There's been so many different ones when I've helped people that it is weird that our own projections do this. But
just a heads up, guys, we got 6 minutes left.
Alrighty. So no, like. We try to be very honest. If a person can benefit from mental health, okay, so Mystic, you kind of understand where I'm coming from. You have to be very careful what you say, especially depending on right. And I deal with criminally insane people. Okay, there are people where I work that has literally cut their father's but decapitated their father's head and carried it in a bag until they were caught by police.
Right. You can't get someone like that in an occult forum,
And tell them
having them read a book that gives instructions on how to kill people and think that they're wise enough to not act on it.
No.
You know.
Mhm.
And these people will be, and that's the thing. A lot of these people are interested in things like this because they're just trying to find where their place. They're trying to find somebody that will accept them as is.
Now, I do want to say this before we wrap this up. The thing is, EA did start writing this crap when he was younger. He started, I believe, after writing articles with a company called Exacxar. Exacxar, they produce some decent material, man, but it's sinister. It's dark. So what EA does is he looks at this stuff and he tries to one-up you. So if a text talks about animal sacrifice, he's going to talk about human sacrifice. When another Exacxar author started creating a current on Atlantis, he tried to bring Atlantis into his voodoo book, Fighter and the Green Butterfly. He doesn't come up with his own ideas. Never does. And I'm going to be honest, guys, none of his ideas are his own. Let me speak. Mastering Evocation was Constantinos' book on summoning spirits, verbatim, including the order and the names of the fucking spirits that you call upon. No one called him out on it.
Well, and that's why the voodoo people have been so after him, because it's insulting.
Right. But see, my point was, babe, was this. All of it was all done as a competition, because that's all this occult stuff is to him. It's a dick measuring contest. And so that caused impulsive writing and impulsive behavior. Period.
Funny story. I come from all my cousins. You said dick cut measuring. I'm sorry. I have all boy cousins. And you guys, boys actually do this shit. That's so gross. I'm just saying.
Fucking Mystic's
No,
yep.
all of my guy cousins come out of the bathroom giggling and laughing and pointing at my youngest cousin. And what? Nothing. My youngest was so mad. And I realized later what they were doing in that bathroom. Y'all are sick.
But one thing I'm noticing.
Sorry,
I'm
I
noticing
had
because no, it's all good. It's all good. Because I'm listening to what you guys are saying, and I'm watching the reactions chat. Because there's a lot of people that apparently have had run-ins with EA and shit with EA. Talking about, so for example, you said with the book thing that nobody called him out on it. Arctic says he was called out, but then they were silenced, comments deleted, the accounts were banned, things like that. So this for me brings this full circle with the whole thing with bringing the occult community together. In the necessity of it, because the thing is that this is what I'm talking about, protecting each other. Because if we were able to unify together, you would not have an organization that would be able to do that. Look, I mean, I'm trying to avoid this as much as humanly possible, but I know I'm sitting here, I'm talking about some secret society type shit. I know that's what I'm leading into here.
On you for anybody that has spoke up in chat, because I know that I guess it's the Norse blood in me, so I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
We want to go into battle. We want to die in battle. But good on you guys for speaking up, because it is frightening, because these people will come at you. Fuck them coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck them coming at you. They're not that powerful. They really are not.
Regardless,
and that's the thing.
I agree. I think we need to really start contemplating this and thinking about this, and maybe we need to remove this man from the equation altogether and just focus on the goal. So next time, maybe that's what it needs to be about. So what do? How do we create it?
Like I said,
we didn't have to remove anybody.
I think the easiest way to go about it is it has to start small. And the only way that we can do it currently, within a frame of legality, is to basically unify content on when it's necessary. So if we notice somebody's doing something like EA, or even if it's an organization or whatever,
or anything dangerous,
that throughout all our content, we come together, we have a conversation, we do something like this, like a little powwow where we're all together, and then separate content on each of our channels, which unifies that message, and that people can see, wait a minute, this person and this person and this person and this person and this person are all saying the same thing, and they're working together for the betterment of the occult community. Like, they're pointing out the dangerous aspects of what's happening and what people are trying to pull, whether it's a Ponzi scheme to try to get money out of you, or it's somebody, you know, kidnapping children, or connected to cartels or shit like that. That we come together and our content unifies on that basis. It's small. It's a small start, but we gotta crawl before we can walk, and we gotta walk before we can run.
Virgo's making me nervous over here. What are your last page? I'm sorry. I know my Virgos.
Did my aura just suddenly go brown because the thought in my head is literally this specific situation is represented by a single fly on a landfill full of shit.
Ooh.
Because this is a blip on the radar. This is going to be 10 times worse the next time it happens.
Ooh.
And the problem is we
so
cannot.
That means pay attention, folks.
Yeah,
No, right.
we can't police. We
I
can't
love
police
the
what's
way
going
you
on.
Said that though.
You know, it's just what it is. We're going to continue to have it. We're going to continue to see these things coming up because it's not a condition of the occult. It's a condition of humanity.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not secret to the occult. Look at what's going on everywhere else. This is a full-blown humanity problem.
Ooh.
And we're going to have conversations. We're never going to, and this is kind of sounds pretty negative even for a Virgo. Although we can be pretty, just call me Eeyore.
You are Eeyore, but that's okay.
But we're not going to solve this problem on a YouTube channel, or talking about Koetting or our personal experiences, or even coming together. The way we are going to eventually hopefully solve this problem is by allowing people to identify the types of conversations they can have when we're not there, or when this group isn't there, or when so my takeaway from the discussion, hopefully for people who are present, is, hey, this doesn't feel right. Let's go talk about it, regardless of what the outcome is. That's it. It's that simple.
Right.
Have the conversation, be willing to talk about it, recognize people are different and going to respond differently and take care of things in a different method, different manner, and let it go at that. Because in the end, we can talk about the legality of it. Do I think EA Koetting's YouTube should have been pulled off? No, I don't think that's okay for anybody, period. Because I think it sets a precedent. But I also recognize that an individual who has a following, who has an inherent power because they have the platform, also should be held accountable. But we have to be the ones to hold them accountable, not YouTube.
Not just talk about it, be about it as well.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
That's the end message for me.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
That's right.
I
And that
completely.
actually, I used to have that as my tagline on my Facebook. It used to be for a long time. Don't talk about it, be about it.
I like that.
Because I've always not just said what I feel, but I always stand behind what I feel. Absolutely, you're right. We can't just sit there and say,
And we
this
have
looks bad.
We have
need to do
to,
something.
because look, if not, we're not going to be able to even practice.
Christians are
This sort
having
of
a problem.
thing is what creates the satanic panic. You know
Right.
what I mean? And
we
it is, it is almost there. So, and why?
It is.
Like you said, we
Well, I mean,
didn't
I mean,
speak up.
even the whole Travis Scott thing. I mean, I keep talking about that.
Oh,
Like they tried to sit there and say Travis Scott's a fucking demon, and the 8 people that died were intentionally killed as sacrifices to
Yeah,
fucking Kris Jenner, as because apparently Kris Jenner's a demon too. And it's like,
if y'all haven't noticed that the Jenners or the fucking Kardashians are fucking crazy in the first place, and that's sad. Anyway,
That's never going to change. But I do want to. I don't know if I just lost it in my head.
no.
Virgos can always get it. Trust me, we got this. It just might be tomorrow or a week later, but we'll get it. The one thing that does worry me on conversations like this, and a little bit, is that when we say, don't just talk about it, be about it, we also have to be very thoughtful of who has the ability to do what. Because it's not just everybody needs to speak up. It's sometimes I have a pretty good way of getting people to talk about things they don't want to tell me. If you have a secret, I'm going to get it. It's just my thing. I can get you to tell me. So we have to be able to have people who can recognize it and pull it out of you. We have to have people who can be the mouthpiece and speak about it. We have to have people who can bring the group together to grow about it. We have to allow everybody to be in their own abilities. So it made me think of something I was meant to say earlier, but I just didn't because I don't know what Rook is putting in my drink. So it's but
So.
you know, when you guys mentioned you should have spoken up or you should have done something differently or you should have said this, I completely disagree with that because you shouldn't have, because if you would have, then this wouldn't have happened. And things happen for a reason and work in a way that they're supposed to work. So would you have spoken up then? Silence would have happened. This could have never happened, right? So the everything for a reason, but we still, I personally believe we have some control over which switch to flip.
To me, similar to it, that the gods always have a way of working out in their timing and the way it's supposed to, so that it makes an actual impact. So you're right on that. I think just especially where we stand, though, it's hard to not feel accountable because maybe we could have, if there's anybody else, we could have said, you just
Hindsight's
don't want other
20/20.
people to deal
Hindsight's
with
maybe
Hindsight's
coulda,
20/20.
shoulda, might have, coulda, you know.
And Mystic is right. Like if it wasn't
we're helping others from
exactly
having to deal with what we did.
From the tarot reading tonight, we are.
and and the thing is like Mystic is right. The thing is like everything happens for a reason. So the thing is like we were brought together for a reason in the way that we were, through unexplained possibilities, things like that. And so all of this is kind of leading up to something. I feel like, especially like the four of us right now sitting here in this call definitely have a big part to play in what's about to come.
Oh, yeah. I definitely plan on maintaining my role and developing that role as my life experience allows it to develop,
Exactly.
Because we all have our experiences. And as occultists, I don't think our job is to be masters or maguses or living gods. Our job is to just help people to grow through our own experience. That's it.
Exactly.
Right.
It's very true. And I think that's a very good note to end on.
And I'm so excited about your book. I'm sorry. I was reading on that the other day. I'm so excited. I'm sorry. I was like...
So it should
I was
be...
at work, so it was like, I was on one of the dorms that kind of give me PTSD after being hit the other day. And I was reading that at the same time. I'm like, yay! And
yeah, it should be. I should have it published by Halloween of next year.
Sorry, I just got to make you kind of call yourself out on that one because that's going to be exciting because there's not enough out there on Baphomet. And and to me, the way just being, I read a lot with you. I breed people, and it's not always a good gift, but it is what it is. But it's like it's genuine. And that's what's going to be exciting about it because it comes from the heart, your own. Like a lot of times with him, it's his own experiences. He's not telling you 100%. This is fucking do it.
Right.
Sorry, but yeah, but you know what I mean. Like Virgo is always just so laid back over there.
No, Moscato makes you passionate.
Well, I mean, the idea with the book is not to tell anybody how to do anything, but rather kind of like an explanation of what I've learned through 10 plus years of working with Baphomet directly, which is why it's called the Book of Baphomet: Conversations with the Horned One.
But it's proof, though, because you are so balanced. You try to see things so.
I try my best. I'm human. I make mistakes, but I do the best that I can to look at things objectively.
Virgos don't make mistakes. Don't worry.
I totally used to Gemini's on that.
All right, let's call it there, guys. Thank you so much for being here, Bonnie,
Sure,
Curtis. Thank you. As always, you're always welcome to come on the show anytime you want to come back through. Right?
Awesome, man.
So we'll see you guys later. Also, everybody out there in YouTube land, thank you very much for being here. We peaked high on viewers today, almost 20 we hit, concurrent.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'm excited about that because that's a milestone for the channel. Thank you all. Love your faces. You guys are fucking amazing. See you guys later.